the action from all the biggest games.
Oh, it's a second goal!
This is Open All Mics from Sports Sound.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Good afternoon, you're listening to Open All Mics on BBC Radio Scotland. The last round of fixtures before the split. We'll get the post-split fixtures for you. I think it's Monday they come out, so plenty to play for this afternoon. Earlier today we kicked off with that really emphatic victory for Celtic at home to Kilmarnock. 5-1 there, some fantastic goals in that game. You can watch them all on Sports Scene this evening. So we've been round the grounds for the team news. Let's get then to that game at Tannadice, Alan Preston, and just talk to us a bit more about the job that Jim Goodwin is doing and recruitment. Good recruitment's been key to it.
It has been. He's recruited very, very well. Brought players in that probably a lot of us had never heard of. They've settled them well, and obviously the talisman is Dalby. You got a goal scorer, you try and hold on to him. He managed to do that in the January window. And if they can keep him again for the next number of years, that would be some bit of business for them. But I've got to say, there's a decent enough St Johnstone crowd here. Really big, 10,000 in total they're expecting here today. And that's all credited Dundee United, because they've been a joy to watch. They've made the top six and they've been very consistent. Very, very consistent this season. I think the only them and Celtic have been and probably Rangers have been in the top six much of the whole season. They've not had that real bad period that Hearts and Hibs and Aberdeen have had. So consistency from Jim Goodwin is the order of the day. Just as I see a banner in the St Johnstone end the alcohol ban. I'm not so sure that's going to happen. And on the other end it's United colours off Tayside. So great atmosphere here, pitch is great. Lovely afternoon for a game at Tannadice.
Yeah, you look at St Johnstone, Stephen, you've seen them a few times this season, and I always mention Aberdeen there, the very different season they've had, you know, the fantastic start, then the difficult spell. They're back on track now. You look at St Johnstone, that's almost like a week-to-week situation, isn't it? You don't quite know what you're going to get.
Absolutely. I mean, not that you can predict bottom of the league to beat Celtic very often anyway, but I was at Easter Road a few weeks ago and it was so insipid. There was nothing, there was no real spirit or fight about them. And then you watch them the next week against Celtic, and there was you could almost smell a belief that they thought they could still do it. So yeah, very much week to week at the minute.
Let's get to Fair Park. We've got the team news. We heard from both managers. Stephen Craigan is here for us this afternoon. Michael Wimmer, what have you made of him, Stephen? Have you seen improvement under him?
I have to say, Kenny, the last two games probably haven't resembled what he said his team would look like away to Aberdeen and away to Kilmarnock. Kilmarnock maybe a little bit different because they were down to 10 players, but I just thought they struggled. They didn't press enough, they lacked energy. This Motherwell team don't have a lot of pace. Even with Tuanda Maswanisa, he's the only one that has that ball carrying ability to get themselves up the pitch. So ultimately, if they win today and things go their way, then he'll be in the top six and then he'll have a chance to go and change things. But no, I still think there's a lot of work to do. They haven't kept enough clean sheets. He hasn't kept a clean sheet since he came in. That's not all on him because the team have struggled all season in that department. But it boils down to one game this afternoon and they look as if they've got a little edge to them. Tony Watt's been pressing well already. Callum Slattery, Maswanisi. There's a little snap about in the top end of the pitch. But I think you look at the Hearts team, they've got good players. They've got players who can win games, who can hurt you. It's whether they can put it all together in the one day. And if they do, they know it's simple for them. Go and win the game. Forget everything else. Simply win the game. And I think they should have enough on paper. But football isn't always played on paper. We know that.
Yeah, it's going to go down as a big failure, Michael, isn't it, if Hearts don't get the job done this afternoon?
Massive. Yeah, absolutely. You know, you mentioned before about one of the criticisms of the manager not having won big games. You know, no disrespect to Motherwell, they wouldn't fall into that category of one of the big clubs, but this is a big game. And if Neil Critchley was to not win this and not get the top six, it's just another one of those black marks against his time in charge. The big one that comes to mind for me as well is Petro Club in the Conference League. That lost the club an astronomical sum of money, and the opportunity to go into Europe after the turn of the year as well. And Hearts should have been there. They should have been beaten, the Moldovan club. And then there's just been obviously the Derby defeats, not being able to pick up points against the teams at the top, as Alan spoke about there. But this one, it's amazing how you get one good result and it starts to change the narrative. Certainly winning here today, getting top six, it helps to build a bit of momentum and progress, and also focus attention onto the summer transfer window.
Chance?
Yeah, just a third part, just as Michael was talking, just a simple ball into the box. And you talk about nerves on an occasion like this, because Michael's just talking about the importance of hearts. Cross ball in, Craig Gordon comes out, catches it, fumbles it, drops it, eventually the ball is cleared, but sometimes that one individual error, that mistake can suddenly send nerves reverberating throughout a team, throughout a fan base. But certainly not the ideal start for Craig Gordon, but he gets away with it.
Alan, I know obviously they've climbed the league, but have you seen what you've needed to see from Neil Critchley? Is it much better than you saw under Stephen Naismith?
I wouldn't say much better, but it's certainly better because they hadn't won a game. The worst start in 150 years at that point. So it is slightly better, but not much better. It has to be a lot better, Kenny, for the money that the club's got, that I described at the start of the programme here. It's incredible, the money that the fans have put in, the benefactors, the European money, everything that goes with it. And for them to be struggling to get into the top six is just not acceptable at all.
See, Alan's spot on there, Kenny. Yes, it's better. There's no doubt that it's better. But it becomes a case of what's the barometer of success then? That it's a bit better. Mm-hmm. Now, I like Neil Critchley. I think he's a really nice guy. I think he's a good coach. But I don't think he's a Hearts manager.
You said that right from the start, Michael, to be fair to you. You had concerns.
Yeah, well, I think everybody did. But then you get the narrative of, well, he deserves time. Well, why? Because he was given the job. But who thought that Neil Critchley's the guy to go and get the job? Now, I think he has progressed things. But if you're going to look at what is the best chance for Hearts to go and compete where they should, would you have Neil Critchley as the manager? I find it more difficult to say that now because, you get to know him and I think he's a really good guy. But, as Alan's just spoken about, there's so many other parts of the club that function so well. The football side of it, the most important side of it, has underachieved on the whole since Anne Budge came in 11 years ago. This is 11th season since Anne Budge took the club out of administration. 7 managers they've had. And I would argue that the vast majority of them have not been good enough.
My biggest concern with Neil Critchley, and I agree with what Alan and Michael have said, my biggest concern, it's a personal preference. I hate the diamond formation. I hate it. I feel like it's a very short term.
Oh, sorry, just there's another pass back to Craig Gordon's right foot. It was fizzed in by Adam Forrester. Craig Gordon went to take a touch with his right foot and this went out for a corner kick. So maybe all the pressure is starting to build. Maybe they're listening to sports sound somewhere because it certainly seems to be affecting the players.
Yeah, that's a shaky start.
Yeah, I don't know if Michael, as another midfielder, feels, but I hated playing a diamond for more than 1 or 2 games because it's so easy to play against. Good managers can totally expose it, switches of play. It's such hard work for those 4 guys in the middle, and there's no real control in terms of being able to just give out to the winger. And
so the reason it's not particularly he perhaps wants to play that system. It's got Michael saying he doesn't have the options out wide. He's got to play that system.
Yeah, but I mean, there's got to be. I mean, that might be. That is our best team. That gets all our best players in. But I always just feel a diamond's a very short-term type of formation to use.
I think it is to his perspective as well. I don't think it's a long-term thing.
I think he'll go to 3 at the back, Michael, next year. I honestly do with wing backs. I think he'll go. That's what I think.
Well, there's another one that I'm never really convinced.
Sorry, Michael. Everyone keeps speaking about the big games. Can you really win a big game with a diamond? When you look at big games across Britain, almost, does anyone go into a big game and play a diamond?
Do you know the only just off the top of my head, the only real team that I can remember that was really like top draw and successful that played a diamond was AC Milan and had Kaká as number 10.
Right.
but it comes
point made.
And I think Pirlo was probably at the bottom of the diamond at that point.
You maybe get the 2 of them now, but they're in their 40s. Still take them.
But because I and again, this is personal preferences, but I would agree with Stephen in regards to I never really liked the diamond either, and I felt that number 10 at times, unless they're world class and really understand and you really build that team, a lot of the times they would get in the way of the 2 strikers.
Yep.
And then you're really limited where you're with, because the side of the diamond, they never want to go and play in a wide area. And if you are playing on the side, you're having to shuffle across to close down. So it's a very specific formation, like Ruben Amorim at Man United. Not a diamond, but a very specific formation that you have to try and recruit for that system.
Kenny,
sorry, can I just come in? Want to do that?
Yeah.
Sorry, just to finish, because Neil Critchley's been spoken about. I think many people would say that David Gray and Jimmy Tulane have had very good seasons at Aberdeen and at Hibs. I think people would have waxed lyrical about them. David Gray's points per game record is 1.56. Jimmy Tillene's is 1.53 and Neil Critchley's is 1.54, and that's with 24 games. If you put that pro rata over a season, he would have 50 points. So I think for all the criticisms he's had, he's done not too bad to get Hearts in the position they're in, and he's punching along beside Jimmy Tillene and David Gray with regards point per game.
Jimmy Tillene had the worst run of an Aberdeen manager in God knows how long. David Gray had the worst start to a campaign in God knows how long.
But would you say they've had good seasons? Hearts and Hibs, Hibs and Aberdeen have had good seasons. That's the point.
But Craigs, what you're failing to understand is you've just done an aggregate points, and I'm just telling you that in amongst that there have been two of the worst runs for those clubs. So if you're wanting to aggregate that out, well, chuck in a horrendous run for Hearts, and where do you find it? Well, you actually find them struggling to get the top six because they had a horrendous start under another manager. So it's a little bit of comparing apples and oranges here and coming up with an answer that I don't think is a fair one, really.
Well, it's just to try and give the manager a little bit of support that he seems to be getting thrown about everywhere. He's dealing with the squad you think is imbalanced and isn't good enough. You probably bring in 7 or 8 new players to change it. So for him to get this squad in towards the top 6 when he took over the 2 points, I think he's done not too bad. He's not done an incredible job.
But that's exactly what that's what Alan and I. But that's what Alan and I just said, Craigs. That he has done better than was there before. But what is the barometer of that's good enough for Hearts?
He's also had a transfer window that he could have demanded almost. I need wide players.
Yeah, it's not happened.
Surely on it though, it does need a bit more time. I agree with what you are saying, but on the back of that as well, as much as you're saying it was a terrible, Hibs have had a fantastic run in that. Where would they be if it wasn't for that run as well? And we can all say it was great for Hibs to stick with David Gray, which I agree with, and give him time. Surely he's got to get the summer transfer window and maybe into the next one before we can
James,
judge.
we're not saying to get rid of him. I'm not anyway. I think he has to be given a window.
Yeah, no, definitely, but just to say that I agree with Craigs as well, and just the sense that give him the time, and the job he's done so far is okay. Now, come 4:45 tonight, it might
what a chance,
Alan.
For Dundee United, have a look at this. It's unbelievable. It is from Ferry in the wider area. It's really good play by Middleton. Knocks it to Ferry. It's on his good left foot. That's really close for here. I thought it was in.
Back to you, James.
No, again, just on it, give him the time to see that, then decide, because at 4:45 tonight, if he's in the top 6, he's got the chance to go and push to the end of the season. Yeah, the narrative becomes completely different if they miss out on the top 6, where we all know, and let's be honest, with their budget, with everything, the infrastructure at that club, we shouldn't even be debating it.
James,
I think we could all agree on that.
Look, this comes down to the debate that I just mentioned, and the argument about, well, he's in the job so he deserves more time, and I'm not saying that he should be sacked. What I'm probably suggesting is more that I don't think he should have been appointed in the first place.
Yeah, you make that very clear.
I don't think it was an inspiring, appointment. And then it's a case of, well, how long do you stick with that? And ultimately as well, I think there is a degree of fatigue amongst the Hearts supporters, because the point I made before, 11 seasons since the club came out of administration, and how many of them have been in the Championship, not competing for the European positions, not getting to the levels that a club the size of Hearts should be, and should be there most seasons. Whereas I would say most seasons, they've not been in those positions.
Right, Queen of the South 1, Montrose 0. Adam Brooks, that opening goal on 6 minutes. What's happening in your game there in Paisley?
Not a lot, Kenny. It's just two teams that look a bit nervy. Just a lot of duels, a lot of high balls. Both back threes dealing with it pretty comfortably at the minute. No real clear-cut chances of any sort.
Who do you like, James, in that St Mirren side? Who are the key players for them?
For me, Mark O'Hara's obviously the St Mirren captain. I played with him when he was at Dundee. I think he's been really good in that team, and when he's out the team, they certainly do miss him. And having Olasanya back as well, you can just see, and I'm saying that both back threes are defending, but it's going to be interesting as the game goes on, with Jordan White at the top end for Ross County and Olasanya at the top end up there, and who wins that battle. But for me, with Mark O'Hara and the St Mirren team, he's the one that that gets him going. Scores a lot of goals from midfield. Originally came to Dundee as a centre back, and Paul Hartley moved him into midfield, and he's went on and he's done okay.
James, I like the chat about shape, about tactics. I think that our listeners do as well. The guys in the studio certainly not fans of the diamond formation. Your thoughts on that as a manager?
Tough. I agree with it, and I didn't want to jump in. I hated playing again. I hated when maybe Dave would say, or Dave Mackay, sorry, would say we maybe go a diamond. John McGlynn does it at Falkirk at certain times, but the way they play it is different from when he does go to diamond. The way they play it is different from the diamond that Stephen and Michael were kind of talking about. It seemed to be when you played against John's team, they just had players everywhere, and we've all seen how successful they've been this season. And at times when we would look at it and say we'll maybe match them up, but I'll be honest, even and you can see, you can coach a back three, you can coach a back four, and you can go in and try and coach a diamond, but for me I always felt it was the worst one to go in and try and affect, and also to play in. I've played in teams as well where I played in a diamond, and one famous one, and I was speaking to Michael about it not too long ago. It was a Scottish Cup final, and you just knew that diamond was never going to work for the start.
We played, Kenny, we played against James' Dunfermline team in the derby at Falkirk, and we played in the last derby of the season. They had the upper hand in the games, and we played the diamond to catch them by surprise, because we hadn't really got the 4-3-3 flowing against that particular Dunfermline team, and we went to the diamond to try and catch them out by surprise. Ended up going up 2-0 in the first half, but we were never in control of the game. It finished 2-each. You remember it?
Sorry, Stephen. I think it was actually you went 2-0 up, and then we equalised. We made it 2-2 right on half time, and if you remember back, Matthew Todd missed a chance. But I'll be honest, we were probably delighted you went with that, because you were a better team in the way you played, and probably the reason you couldn't get the 4-3-3 going was because we just tried to ruin those games and stop you
successfully.
Playing. Yeah, it's like you had to. And I had the same problem with John McGinn when he was the Raith Rovers manager, and I was at Dundee, and we played them in the semi-final of the playoffs. They had the upper hand on us all season, and we went away to Raith in the first game, and a couple of brilliant goals in that game with bits of magic for Charlie Adam in the game, and Jordan McGee come up with 2 goals. But anytime you play, and this is me just speaking honestly, anytime you play, and Stephen's obviously worked with him a lot, he's known very well, he's a fantastic coach, but when you come up against a John McGlynn team, then you're actually pretty happy when he changes and he tries to take you by surprise, because he's going away from what his team.
Yeah, we've got a goal. First goal, Derek.
Maraki's brilliant play. Shaw down the line, whips it across, and there's Todorov on the volley. Beautiful strike, Kenny.
That's a big goal, is it? We said before the game how massive this match is for both clubs, Derek.
Yeah, I've got to keep it short and sharp. Working very well, I can assure you. So, no, it's been Aki's kind of bullying Thistle a little bit at the moment, but it's been a little bit end-to-end the last 2-3 minutes, but it's a fine goal. Ollie Shaw just peeling off down the right-hand side, and he...
Right. Yes, listen, we're getting it, and we understand why you hadn't got short and sharp. We have got technical issues today. Apologies to our listeners. It's been a bit of a feature this season. We'll get that sorted for you, no doubt at all. But a big goal there at Firhill for Hamilton Accies away at Partick Thistle. Todorov with that goal on 15 minutes. Let's stay in the Championship. Let's get to Carpolo. Morton at home to Livingston and get the latest from Chick Young.
Oh, it's a goal! You've come with perfect timing. Rattled back into the back of the net. It's a wonderful play down the right side. I think it's Christian Montano with the finish. Rattled that one into the net. Great build up down the right hand side. I was just about to say I hope football might break out very shortly here, because it's been a dreadful start to the game. Ball's been in and out the stadium, I think, at one point, and certainly on the roof. But Livingston have taken the lead, and it is Christian Montano. Fantastic drive into the roof of the net from just outside the 6-yard box. Good play down the right hand side. I think Livy have been slightly the better team, and of course it means so much more to them than it does to Morton this afternoon. Morton's kind of stuck in no man's land in this league, but Livy chasing second place. It's a big goal for them. It is Morton 0, Livy 1, Christian Montano.
Yeah, Montano with that goal in 70 minutes, and a big chance at Fair Park there, Stephen Craigan.
Yeah, it was a huge chance for Cardsome on the right hand side for Hearts. James Penrice does really well. He overlaps, he fizzes the ball across goal, Everybody misses. A couple of players go for it. Falls to Carton. He takes a touch on his left foot, opens a goal up for himself, lovely, and gets right underneath it over the crossbar.
Second one. Yes. Derek. Through the middle.
Who's it for?
Aki's.
Wow.
Robinson through the middle. 1-on-1. Just tell you what, brilliant finish.
Well, if it's a second one, it's obviously going to be for Aki's, Kenny.
I think it's the second goal of the game. Second goal, well, listen, what a start for Hamilton Accies, and they need it. They are fighting for the lives at the bottom of the table. As for Partick Thistle, they're in that scrap, of course, for the final spot in the playoffs. Of course, it's going to be Falkirk, we presume champions, then Livingston, and then Ayr United. They, of course, fought back last night at home to Falkirk, but Wraith Rovers are breathing down the neck of Partick Thistle as things stand. Looking at the live table, they would be just 2 points behind Thistle. Wraith Rovers this afternoon, they are at home in the championship. It's currently goalless in that game. Wraith Rovers 0, Airdrie 0. Airdrie have been a good run of form. Just confirmation that second goal for Hamilton Accies. Partick Thistle 0, Hamilton Accies 2. Scott Robinson with that goal on 17 minutes. Let's try the line at the National Stadium. Gully Singh is there for us. Queen's Park at home to Dunfermline. What's happening there, Gully?
Yeah, Kenny, not much to report on. I mean, Queen's Park started fairly decent there. A few balls floated into the box, but nothing really to test the keeper. Dunfermline, same at the other end. Andre Raymond just had a shot there for Dunfermline. It was captured comfortably from Callum Ferry, but other than that, not much to report at all. There's not really been one decent effort on goal so far. So, yeah, still currently 0-0 here.
Clyde won 4-0. Logan Dunnicky with that goal on 17 minutes. I said earlier on, maybe it was an off-the-ball trail actually, but we've got a Queen's Park fan joining us in the programme later on. It's really worrying times for them right now, so we'll get his perspective on where the club are. They're in severe danger, of course, of being in that relegation battle at the bottom of the championship table. Got a couple of things I want to chat to the guys about, but let's get another bounce around the grounds. Let's get to Tannadice. Alan Preston is there for us. Dundee United against St Johnstone.
20 minutes gone, Kenny. Still 0-0 here at Tannadice. That one effort from Will Ferry early on, 11 minutes in. Good play by Middleton. Rolls it square to Ferry. His left foot shot hits the side netting. That's been about it. St Johnstone trying to build up from the back, not getting much joy. Dundee United are right down on top of the throat of them, and they've had the better off at United, but still 0-0 here, Kenny, with 20 minutes on the clock.
Thanks to Alan. Let's then get to Fir Park. Stephen Cragen is there for us. Motherwell against Hearts.
Yeah, just there's been an enforced change from Motherwell, Kenny. Kofi Palmer went down with an injury just straight away, had to get himself off the pitch, so Johnny Katrumbus has come on to replace him. I think it will just be a like-for-like change, but there's not been an awful lot in the game. Sander Carson had the best chance of the game on a couple of minutes ago. He'll be disappointed he hasn't at least hit the target. That lovely left foot of his, the goal opened up for him, and he managed to get underneath it and put it over the crossbar. Certainly competitive. That midfield battle the boys are speaking about, that four midfield, that diamond of Hearts. And Motherwell are playing four as well, but they're playing a box four around the diamond, so nobody's really dominating that area. I thought Hearts may have got the better of it, because their two midfield players, or their outside midfield players in the diamond, would be a little bit wider, but no, they're matching each other up at times out of possession, so still 0-0.
Another really important goal in the championship. Wraith Rovers 0, Airdrie 1. Chris Mockery on 90 minutes. The incredible fight back is still very much on for Rhys McCabe's side. Let's then get to the game at the Smythe Stadium in Paisley. St Mirren at home to Ross County. Get the latest from James McPake.
Yeah, over 20 minutes in, it's still 0-0. No notable chances at all. Olasanya thought he was going to get through, but there were a good bit of defending for the Ross County centre back, but there's been nothing of any sort at the minute. It is boring, but that goal, the goals for Airdrie and the goals for Hamilton are putting a lot of pressure on the teams down the bottom end of that championship at the minute. That's the exciting thing, listening to that and then trying to pick wee arguments with a goal, a chance. Oh, is it goal? Ronan Hale.
Wow.
1-0 Ross County.
Right, we've got the pictures coming into the studio here. It's a real stramash, isn't it? But eventually it's forced home.
Just to me, it looked like a scramble. It looked like St Mirren or Gogic should have got it away, and then Ronan Hale's there to put it in the net.
I mean, Michael, you've had a wee look at that, just only the first
it was exactly as James was talking about. It looked like, dangerous ball into the box, and then it was ricocheting around, but it's a smart finish for Ronan Hale. It lands at him round about the edge of the box, and he fires into the bottom corner. They're 30
what
second
are the St Mirren
goal.
players arguing about it, in it, Michael?
I'm not sure.
They're all around Callum Scott.
Oh, it's another goal. It's another goal for Livingston. It's played into the net. Scott Pittman with the final touch. More great play down the left side by Big Montano. He went to the byline, played it square, laid it low, and there was a lovely little touch from Scott Pittman. Just opened his right foot and turned it beyond the goalkeeper. Livy have a great grip on this football match. It is Morton 0, Livingston 2.
I think they were maybe, James, trying to claim that there was interference or somebody was offside that was in front of the goalkeeper, but nobody was offside. It's a perfectly good goal. And I was just saying that that's only the 32nd goal in their 33rd game, Ross County.
Wow.
So that tells you where the problems have been for Ross County in the whole.
They're having a look, though, aren't they?
Exactly.
Someone's speaking to the referee at the moment, yeah?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
they're still just...
Yeah. And they check every goal, we know that, but certainly, as Michael said, I had a quick look at it. Didn't seem to be anything in it, Stephen, did there?
No, I think that they'll be checking. I mean, everyone's on side. I think someone's almost chested it, but they might be checking just in case it doesn't touch his hand, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Kenny, also, that has an impact in the game here at Fir Park. I think the Motherwell fans think the goal stands. They need St Mirren to get beat, don't they? They need to then try and win this game. So there was a little bit of energy around Fir Park. I'm not too sure if they know that it is being checked, but they think.
Yeah, as it
Ross County
stands,
are leading.
the game's back underway.
There you go.
It is a goal.
They will be
1-0
delighted.
County.
It's in their hands now. If it stays like that in Paisley, it's in their hands in Motherwell, isn't it now? For both sides there, Crags.
It certainly is. Well, we all know the Hart situation, but Motherwell needed St Mirren to get beat and they needed to win. So you're right. It puts them back in with a chance of getting into the top six.
Kenny, it's still in St Mirren's fans' hands to go and win it, of course.
No, I'm saying this thing stand though.
You're very St Mirren's.
What are you on about, Charles?
It's
in Hearts' hand and that's the end of it.
Oh, don't you
if Hearts win, that's it done. You can win if you want. You can win if you want.
And if St Mirren get beat, then it means it's,
the point I'm making,
to Motherwell.
There's still much to be done.
Well, I don't think anybody was disputing that.
Kenny was.
I said this thing stands.
You just assumed. Yes, I've kept quiet.
I was going to
about it
say,
for months.
Motherwell didn't need St Mirren to get beat as long as it's a draw.
Yes.
If Motherwell win,
yes,
they're top six.
Yes, absolutely. So that's clearly got through. That goal has got through to Fir Park. So all to play for there. Another goal going in. Just confirmation. Scott Pittman with that second goal.
No
Chip
chance.
was telling us.
They're wanting a penalty. St Johnstone fans behind the goal. It's a ball played in by McKenzie. Sidibe goes down in the box. Just good strong defending from Gallagher. Goes down too easy, Sidibe. Never a penalty in a million years.
Right, Peterhead 1, Spartans 0. Cammy Smith with that goal. So that's you up to date with all the goal news across the country as things stand. Just a wee quiet spell. Just want to get the guys' thoughts on this. Saw some quotes from the Dundee manager Tony Docherty this week talking about Simon Murray. He thinks he should be in the Scotland squad. He's joint top scorer. In fact, he was joint top scorer in the league. 15 goals he's got, 21 in total this season. Michael Stewart, is he a serious proposition for Steve Clarke?
Yes, for me, I would think that he should be. And I don't think that you're going to get a better opportunity than the two games over the summer against Liechtenstein and Iceland, where I think you've got a wonderful opportunity to go and, not perhaps start Simon Murray, but I think he's an infectious sort of character. He's going to burst a gut every time he pulls a jersey on, never mind pulling on the national team jersey. So I think that putting him in the squad would be I don't see any downsides to it personally.
Kenny, can I just say that this week the Scottish Football Writers Association, of which I am a president.
Are you going to exclusively reveal who they've chosen?
No, I'm going to exclusively reveal who I voted for.
Right.
But and you get two choices, so I voted for Dazin Maeda as my number one choice. But then Simon Murray, and I know there's a lot of support for Simon Murray within our association. I'm not saying he's a better season than Dazin Maeda, but I absolutely agree with everything Michael says. And I do think, he's a candidate to be named honorary. Well, we usually do that, Kenny. Don't give an honorary mention to players.
Definitely checks, very important.
So Simon Murray, I think, is in the thinking. Although Maeda, I'm sure all of them. But we can talk about manager. We've done that as well. Voted for manager of the year and young player of the year. But you're talking about Simon Murray. Absolutely, he's worth a place.
I think Maeda is a interesting one to bring up because I see there's quite a few similarities for me between Simon Murray and Maeda in regards to, this season Maeda's finishing and his technical, ability seems to have gone to a different level. Simon Murray, to me, 4 or 5 years ago, was scrappy. He was always worked his backside off.
Goal! Dundee United! It's a simple one. It's Ferry's ball to the back post. It's knocked back, and there's Adi Boyega from about a yard out, just knocking into the back of the net. Dundee United 1, St Johnstone 0.
first look, it looks really poor defending. That just we've obviously got all the screens coming in here. Jim Goodwin just shaking hands with his backroom team there. We'll get another look at it, Stephen, again. The pictures coming in.
Does it come? Can you tell me if it comes off a St Johnstone defender back across?
Right, we're just waiting for the replay. Alan seeing Adebayoga just over at the corner flag there, doing a wee celebration with his teammates. We'll just get a replay. We're waiting for that in the studio. So we've got all the games coming in here.
When I saw it happen in real time, I just thought Adebayoga was free at the back post and knocked in, and then you saw him run away. And St Johnstone players right up against him. I mean, I don't know what he's doing defensively. I'm not sure what
that replay didn't help us at all.
They've gave it a crazy corner away, haven't they, Alan?
Chance, oh, great save. Ronan Hale almost with a second. A bit of a mix-up. Gogic gets caught under the ball, or that's the way it looked. And I thought Hale could have got the shot away quicker. It goes onto his left foot and he gets in. It is a good save down to his right from Zach Hemming there.
James, I'm not liking you in this programme.
Talking too much, Chick.
Tell
because it's St Mirren.
Exactly.
Good save at the near post there by Zach Hemming. Of course, he had that howl and he apologised for it up at Dens Park last weekend. So a corner
here's
there.
a chance for Livingston. Oh! Should have been 3. Absolutely should have been 3. Montana again through the middle. It claims for a penalty. He just hit it right over the crossbar. He's quite when he was brought down. I thought he might have been clattered. Anyway, it's still 2-0 to Livy.
Adebayoga, Alan, he runs off the back of his marker, but it's Barry Douglas who's just on the back post that just is second best in the end.
But did Gallagher get the initial one from the corner?
Yes.
Alan, it looks as if Gallagher's...
He just stuck his foot out.
Stephen, can I take you back 1 sec? Can you just talk about how they gave away that corner?
Oh, it's horrendous.
Yeah, so bad. It's almost, they've tried to go back to the goalkeeper, but it's just a lack of care. I do think that I felt for a long time they've got a lack of care in their defending and doing the basics defensive wise. But Declan Gallagher's went to work a block, and it's almost the ball's not getting to where he thinks it's going to go. He's the flight of the ball's changed, and he's just stabbed a leg at it. And Adebayoga is just in the right position.
It's another corner again. This time it's Barry Douglas trying to usher it out. Gives away a corner.
Right, so
we're going to have to make a change as well. Mitchell's walked over to the side. He's now sitting down, centre half. They're struggling.
Right, some goals to bring you forth for a equalised way at Clyde. Ruben McAllister with that goal in 26 minutes, 1 apiece there. Just confirmation that Adebayoga goal for Dundee United, 1-0 up on St Johnstone. That goal coming on 25 minutes in League One. This is a big goal in terms of these promotion playoff spots. Dumbarton nil, Cove Rangers 1. Dylan Lobban with that goal on 28 minutes. So United, that's a huge goal for them there at Tannadice. And we've got a wee check going on there at Fir Park, Stephen.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what it's for, because Lennon Miller received the ball in midfield. It was a really strong tackle from Benny Beningame, I think. The referee waved play on. Lennon Miller got up and got on with it. He was speaking to the ref. I don't know if the check was for that or not. Play is now resumed, but there wasn't anything untoward throughout the game that warranted a check for me anyway. So on we go.
Kenny, Michael mentioned internationals in the summer. Would you not leave out the likes of Robertson and guys like that, McTominay, guys that have been established for years?
Well, that's what I mean.
Give them a break and bring in Murray, the Cadden twins, Penrice, guys like that.
Well, that's what I mean in terms of, forgetting about all the rest of the guys you've mentioned there who, fair enough, and there's an argument to be had for that, but exactly on that point, that's why I was saying I think the summer June internationals are a perfect opportunity for, just talking about Simon Murray particularly. But I think the bigger point Alan makes is that it's a fair one. You don't want to lose any momentum. You still want to try and create a strong base there, but obviously Stephen's brother, like you're saying, Scott McTominay, Andy Robertson, who have got long seasons of playing 60 plus games, the last thing they want to do really is go and play some friendlies in June when they need to rest their bodies.
Michael, can I just interrupt you for a sec? Sorry, there's been a bit of drama here. But Morton have had to substitute their goalkeeper. I didn't see an injury to Gary Woods at any point, but he's certainly been forced off and was replaced by Ryan Mullen. Remember, Morton are trailing by 2-0. You don't often see that. I have no idea what happened to him. Got an injury at the moment to a Livingston player. In fact, it's Montana who's down getting treatment I think he took an elbow in the nose, to be honest with you. Long period of treatment for him, but a substitution of the Morton goalkeeper.
Just as well, they've got a sub-goalie Chick, because I remember you used to turn up at Capello not long after Doug Emery had taken over, and every week you go like, they've still not got a sub-keeper.
Well, there you go, they were listening.
And listen, and Chick mentioned this earlier on. He's done a great job, hasn't he, Doug Emery? Fantastic job down there at Morton. You think other clubs will be looking at him, Stephen?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the biggest compliment you'd say is nobody likes going down there to play.
Yeah.
And to go down there and get the 3 points, it's one of the big results in terms of overall in the championship season.
What an effort that was. Duke McKenna. It's really good play by St Johnstone down the left-hand side. Cut to Sidibe. Sidibe rolls it back and he tries to bend it in that top corner. That's inches wide. Really good effort.
Alan, were you surprised on United? It comes from the short corner routine not really working. Are you surprised they worked the short corner after scoring with the last one?
Well, that's the thing that really frustrates you when you're a manager, which was briefly, is when you get success from scoring, do it again. Why change it?
Yep.
If something's working, but then they go and take it short. And they done it last week as well. They almost caught them at last week at Tannadice, but obviously it's what they want to try and do. But it really frustrated me.
There's another change happening right now, and as I mentioned, Christian Montana, he looks as if he's taking something to the nose. He's had to go off. He's going to replace straight swap up front. Tete Yengi coming on for Livingston. So 2 substitutions simultaneously for Morton and Livingston. It's still 2-0 Morton. Sorry, Livingston.
Right, thanks to Chick there. Let's get to the game at Fir Park. Both these sides with their eyes on the last spot in the top 6. Who's looking the more likely, Stephen Craigan?
Well, no one really, Kenny. Lennon Miller's been brought down. There's just been a few sloppy moments from Hearts, whether it's been poor passes, pass backs. It was Cartram this time that miscontrolled the ball, allows Lennon Miller to nick it in the middle of the pitch. He drives forward towards the 18-yard box and then is cynically brought down, I think, by Adam Forrester. It's just needless mistakes from Hearts that they don't. When they're not under any pressure, and it's just forcing them back. It's just giving the Motherwell fans something to hang on to. It's giving the Motherwell players a little bit of energy. There's not been an awful lot of goal-mouth action. I think both defences have defended reasonably well, barring that Cartram chance we spoke about earlier on. So there's not an awful lot between the teams. It's the type of game that the first goal may just open it up for everyone a little bit more. But as it is, with 35 minutes gone, it's 0-0. But Motherwell have a dangerous free kick in an area where Lennon Miller is lining it up like he's going to have a shot.
Khartoum came in the January transfer window and they spent 400 grand on him, I think. And nice technical football player, but absolutely not the type of player that Hearts need. And this comes back to, again, well, how many windows do we wait for the deficiencies in the team to be, addressed? Nice footballer, can't really run, not athletic, and one of the worst positions to play him, I would say, is in a diamond off a side, because he isn't athletic, can't run. And that instant there just highlights that,
What I would say, Michael, is Motherwell aren't playing without out wide players, so they're probably not getting as exposed as much as they may do in other games when the full-backs are getting forward and the full-backs are bombing forward, because Thompson, as Motherwell's left wing-back, has been picked up by Forrester. So the midfield players aren't having to really get into wide areas and press and close and harry. It's just when they have to run towards their own goal, like Cartram did in that situation, that's where they'll have problems.
Alan will be able to confirm that, but I think that is correct, that there was about 400 grand that was spelt on Khartoum.
About that, yeah. It's a fair fee.
Just why? No sell-on value.
Well, Michael, I think the thing is as well, the Hearts that you would have known as well, they've got goals from midfield going as far back as Colin Cameron, Paul Hartley, Rudy Scatchell.
Tony Watt had a chance right from that corner kick. Motherwell had the short free kick, it was deflected wide. Corner kick comes in, Tony Watt at the back post. Probably should do a little bit better, at least hit the target, fizzes it across goal, but just goes past the post.
Right, let's get to. Actually, you just wanted to come into that, Alan, didn't you? No,
I was just saying that the ones that they've got, Devlin, Benningham, and Unoff, they're lucky if they get a goal a season each. So maybe they thought Khartoum might bring goals to them, but I agree with you, Michael, he's not athletic enough.
Goal! What a strike, St Mirren. Just see if somebody can confirm who that is there.
We can't. The picture is frozen in the studio. We're having a technical nightmare
it's
today.
What a strike. He picks it up. Mark O'Hara worked a quick throw in and they worked it in the pitch, and he's fully 35-40 yards, and it's a great strike. I don't know if the keeper should do better. For me, on first look at it, it's just a great strike. Catches the keeper by surprise. Sweet strike, great goal, 1-1 here in Paisley.
Well described, James. We can't back you up, I'm afraid, because the picture is completely frozen in the studio. The one so far from Fir Park, yeah, that's working okay. And Tannadice, well, it's working okay with a bit of interference, I think it's fair to say, but that one is frozen there. But that's a big goal for the home side there in Paisley, Stephen McGinn, because they'll still think they can
say it. You can't even say it, man.
What's wrong with you today? You all right?
Who, me or Chick? Chick. Thanks, Alan.
Honestly.
Right, okay.
Team.
Well, I'm right, St Mirren have scored. We think it's Caelan Boyd-Munn, just waiting for confirmation of that coming through. Edinburgh City have scored 1-0 at home to Elgin City. Malik Zaid with that goal on 34 minutes. Cove Rangers 2-0 up away at Dumbarton. Fraser Fyvie on 34 minutes. Are they good value, St Mirren, for that equaliser, James McPake?
Not really, no. I think that's their first shot on target. Again, as I described it earlier, it was a scrappy game, but I think Ross County were the team on top in the game and winning second, third balls, and that's what both teams are playing for. At times it looks like Ross County are trying to play out. It's going to a centre back, they're going long to Jordan White, and it's obviously a tactic that Don Cowie's worked on, and particularly for this game against a big St Mirren team. But for that came out the blue a bit, but they've got their tails up now and they're looking a lot sharper.
Aye, Boyd Munce with that goal on 36 minutes. St Mirren 1, Ross County 1. So Livingston still cruising down there at Kapolocek.
Yeah, they're very much a gap in the game, Kenny. They're 2 goals ahead. They've had to make the changes. They're a big physical team, and you're talking about St Mirren. Well, so Livingston in that department. Just want another corner kick, and they've got all that power. And the referee's decided that's a bike kick actually, but they've got all that in the middle of the park. And Tete Yengi just adds to the option for them up front. Robbie Muirhead, of course, we know what he can do. The free kick earlier on from about 30 yards out. I think he thought it was Declan Rice. It turns out it was more fried rice. Went well over the bar, and it is still 2-0 to Morton.
I'll say again, what's wrong with you?
do you mean generally in life?
Listen, he's got far on that sort of patter. Don't knock it. He's done well out of it. Right, let's get to... Well, chance their arm with this one at Firhill. Partick Thistle at home to Hamilton Accies. Derek Ferguson?
Yeah, it looks like they're going to concede a third. The fans are going mental, the Thistle fans. So...
My goodness, do you know what? This is going to be a long old afternoon. So, Partick Thistle 0, Hamilton Accies 2 in that game. Thistle going for that last spot. They hold it at the moment, that last playoff spot. Hamilton Accies fighting for their lives at the bottom. Todorov with the opener on 50 minutes. Scott Robinson with the second on 70 minutes. I'm not at all surprised that the home fans are very unhappy there. I'm interested to see what they do come the start of next season in terms of that management team. Will they bring in a new permanent manager, or will they stick with Brian Graham and Mark Wilson, who are in charge of the side at the moment? Of course, Ian Barraclough brought in this week as sporting director there at Partick Thistle. James McPake, just wanted to finally wrap up things in terms of Simon Murray. Would you like to see him in a Scotland jersey? Does he deserve his opportunity?
I think so. I agree with everything Michael said as well. When he goes in, he is infectious. I played with him. I was an injured player, so I didn't play too much. But the first time he was at Dundee, he went out to South Africa. He got really, really bad knee injury, and he's come back. And again, it's that question. I know Hibs were after him in the summer as well. Had he went to Hibs and scored all those goals, it maybe comes, and it shouldn't even be a factor in the decision. But I think when he's scoring those goals, and not just that. Just the way he gets after teams, and he deserves that chance to go in and have a shot at it for Scotland. And as Michael and Alan said, that the games in the summer are the perfect opportunity for that. And look, it'd be great for Simon, just a great kid, and the way he works, his attitude, he deserves it in my opinion.
I was just going to say about the Dyson Maeda comparison, where his finishing and his technical end product has gone up a level now. He runs through and goal, you think he's going to score. Whereas before you're thinking, he'd sclaff him with his left foot and stick it in the stand. That doesn't happen. And I think Simon Murray's very similar. In the last couple of years, previously, like 4 or 5 years ago, I'd watched Simon Murray, and he was an untidy player. He wouldn't strike the ball particularly well. Whereas now, I actually think his finishing's pretty good. And I think his all-round game has improved massively.
Spot on, Michael. That's what I was just about to say before you said that last. But I think now his hold-up play, the little touches to bring others into the game. Now, since he's been young and even playing against him, he would always get after people, and like you would call a pest when you're playing against him at times. But you weren't too worried about his touch or whatever. But I agree with that on Maeda as well. And I can see your comparison because that's what Simon's now done, and he's worked really hard for that to tidy his game up, and his finishing certainly improved, but for me his hold up, his link up play, and I just think his game intelligence is a lot better now as well.
Yeah, I really enjoy watching them play. Raith Rovers equalise at home to Airdrie. Jamie Gullen with that goal on 41 minutes. Let's get back to Alan Preston at Tannerise. Dundee United with the advantage there over St Johnstone. Alan, what's happening now?
Still the same. Dundee United are the better side. Although St Johnstone come into it, that effort with Duke McKenna about 5-6 minutes ago, just wide of the target. But United look the side that are more threatening. Just as I say, that strain has one heavy touch. That could be a yellow card there. Maybe not. We'll wait and see. St Johnstone have already had to make a change. Mitchell's gone off and Sprangler's come on. We've got an injury at the moment for Dundee United, but the game is still 1-0 to United, Kenny.
Right, fairly quiet affair so far in Motherwell, Stephen Craigan.
Yeah, what I would say, Kenny, is both managers look more animated than I've noticed or witnessed in recent times. Neil Critchley always comes across as quite a calm and assuring, controllable guy, but I just think this afternoon a few times he's been shouting the ref.
Magnificent! What a goal in a week of great free kicks. Ali Crawford's just put his name right up there. He's nearly 30 yards out. He curls it round the wall, in at the post, low down. Magnificent effort. Morton back in the game. It's Morton 1, Ali Crawford the scorer, Livingston 2.
We're not getting a rice analogy, no?
Oh, it's not boiling here.
I tell you, when Connor Salmon came into Scottish football, it was an absolute nightmare chick. I'll tell you that every single week.
It was a dream for him, wasn't it? It was an absolute dream.
Imagine Salmon and Rice in the same team.
At the net and everything.
Yeah, a good player to have, and the chips are down there. Oh, that's a dreadful part.
That was a place for him.
He was running through, but he's been caught.
Yes. Yeah, he did very well at it over a chick. Stranraer have gone 1-0 up away to Stirling Albion. Elliot Dunlop with that goal on 42 minutes. So we think we may have the pictures back from the game in Paisley, but you were saying St Mirren, James McPake, a bit lucky to be on level terms through there at the moment.
Yeah, Ross County haven't had, apart from Hale's chance where it's a good save for Hemming, they've not threatened too much. I do think they've been more in control of the game, but it's St Mirren's first shot on target. It is a great strike if you've seen it back now, and you can probably tell me now, Kenny, should the goalkeeper have done better, or is it just a great strike for Boyd Muntz?
Right, all we've got now, we've got the live pictures back. We've not seen a replay yet. We'll probably see that at half time, actually, James, and we'll get our eyes across that one. But thankfully we've got the live pictures back of all three games coming into the Sports Sound studio. I remind you, we're on the radio through until 7 o'clock tonight. Michael will stay with me at 5:30. We'll get the fans on. First up was a Hearts fan tonight. Will he be celebrating a spot in the top 6, or will he be angry at another failure from the club? We shall see at 5:30 this evening. We're on the telly, BBC One 4:30 until 5:30. So
chance.
A busy day. Yeah, chance, James.
It's Boyd Muntz again for about the same area. He strikes it, good save for the goalkeeper. Initially looked a good save, it spills, and it's Olasanya, I think, that follows it up, but they managed to clear it out for a corner. But almost an identical area where the strike comes from, and the goalkeeper's very lucky there.
Yeah, I want to speak about goalkeepers. We'll wait till the second half, because there was Ibrox covering the game on Thursday night. A big call from Barry Ferguson. He got it spot on, dropping Jack Buckland, Liam Kelly coming in, that penalty save, a couple of other big saves in that game. But I want to talk about goalkeepers. Like we thread week in, week out. So the best goalkeeper that you have ever played alongside, we'll put it to the fans, the one that the best goalkeeper they've watched in their team through the years. So we'll get that from the guys later in the programme. Alan's dropped me a message. It was quite an interesting story this week. The news that Alan Muir had been relieved of his duties as one of the VAR specialists with the SFA. So we'll get the guys' thoughts on that a little later in the programme. But back to the game. Let's get the game at Fir Park, Stephen Craigan. Are you a bit disappointed in both these sides so far?
Well, they're both lacking the cutting edge at the top end of the pitch. They're lacking a little bit of penetration, a little bit of magic. Maybe that's why they're battling for mid-table and they're trying to get into the top 6 as opposed to being in it. There's varying reasons for that, and Hearts have got the ideal player sitting on the bench, and Lawrence Shankland, of course, he needs a supply, but Drama hasn't really done an awful lot. Kabangu hasn't done an awful lot. Midfield players have been tidy. I think both sets of midfield players have been tidy, but there's been no penetrating passes or runs, nothing exciting. It's getting people off their seats. I said earlier, I think the first goal will open the game up. Someone will then have to go chasing it, but yeah, slightly disappointed that there hasn't been goals and more goal-mouth action.
That's a bit, Hearts play, we've always just spoken about the diamond, but the two front men.
Oh, lucky boy.
Yeah.
It's a great ball in. It's Harding, the young lad, at the near post. Really good play by McKenna on the left-hand side. Twiston and Turner whips it in. And Harding gets a right foot on it. He doesn't know where that's going. It just goes over the top of his own crossbar.
Good clearance.
Half time here at Hampden, it's 0-0.
Yeah, half time at Capital as well. It's 2-1 to Livingston against Martin.
I was quickly just going to say about the two front men for Hearts. You don't see a great deal of link up because they're not next to each other. They play as like outside, forwards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Cabangu plays a lot of the game, not as a left winger, but not far off.
Do you like Cabangu? Do you think he's got potential?
He's all right. And he's taken a degree of pressure off of Lawrence Shatton because he scored some goals, but all right. I'm just, until you deal with the deficiencies in the Hearts team, you're never going to fulfil the potential of that squad. And there is potential there because the nucleus and the majority of it is good. It is good, but it is so glaringly lacking in certain areas, you're never going to be able to get the maximising potential of the overall squad.
Right, I think we're going to give up
here in Paisley, 1-1.
Thanks to James McPake. So 1 apiece between St Mirren and Ross County. I think for now we're going to give up on Derek Ferguson's line there at Firhill. It's currently...
It's 0-0 here at Firhill as well, Kenny.
Thanks, Stephen.
There's an effort again. It's deflected. St Johnstone again on the attack. They're trying to go for this a bit here.
Yeah, decent effort, you'd have to say.
Griffith Mullins, with the effort. If it's deflected wide, just wide of the target, we're into 4 added on minutes. Dundee United still lead St Johnstone by 1-0.
So it's part of Thistle 0, Hamilton Accies 2. Derek's messaged me. Thistle fans going mental. Accies cruising, very dominant, brilliant game. Well summed up by Derek Ferguson. We'll try and get his line back up and running in the second half. But you can understand for these Partick Thistle fans, they were looking over their shoulder now. Although Wraith Rovers, they come from behind at the moment. It's 1 apiece, but they are still very much in tension for overtaking Thistle for that last remaining playoff spot in the Championships. It's Morton 1, Livingston 2, Partick Thistle 0, Hamilton Accies 2, Queen's Park 0, Dunfermline. That's a big game. Wraith Rovers 1, Airdrie 1. In the Premiership, just waiting on Allen's game, finishing up there, half-time at Tannadice today. Celtic 5, Kilmarnock 1. Celtic were brilliant in that first 25 minutes or so. Some great goals there. You watch them on Sports Team this evening. We'll hear from both managers later in the day. Dundee United 1, St Johnstone 0, Motherwell 0, Hearts 0. A disappointing first half there at Fir Park. A good, decent first half, I think you have to say. St Mirren 1, Ross County 1. County going ahead through Ronan Hale, but that was very quickly equalised on 36 minutes by Caelan Boyd-Munce. We've not seen a replay of that goal, but again, you can watch that one on Sports Scene this evening. Of course, St Mirren very much tuned in to what's happening at Fir Park this afternoon. It's in Hearts' hands. If they win, they will get the last spot in the top 6. If they don't win, then it's all to play for. Motherwell with a shout, and St Mirren very much in with a shout as well, but they've got to try and get back into a leading position there in Paisley this afternoon. 1 apiece in that game. What have you made then, Alan, overall this first half at Tannadice?
It's a chance for St Johnstone again. St Johnstone have grown into the game. They're getting better. They've had more of it. They're finding wider areas with Sidibe. He's peeling down the right hand side. Dundee United early on deserve to be ahead, but St Johnstone are certainly coming back in it. They're going to have to throw caution to the wind in the second half. They do have obviously the Kimpiokas there, Josh McPake's there, another striker, so they've got striking Nicky Clark, striking options. I think they're going to have to get them on.
I think that's the thing, Stephen, they do have decent options up top, don't they?
Nobody's ever doubted their attacking play. I mean, they've really exciting at times, they're really slick in the attacking areas, they always create chances, and absolutely, yeah, he's got options off the bench. But yeah, this is the type of urgency that they actually look a really good side. When they're playing with this urgency and they're playing on the front foot, not kind of overplaying in their own half, they look like a good side.
Yep, so just waiting the half-time whistle there at Tannadice. What a season it's been for Jim Goodwin and Dundee United. We'll be joined by a United fan later in the programme, also by a St Johnstone fan. What a result for them last Sunday, upsetting the champion Celtic at McDermott Park. Really important that they followed up on that today. So far, they're not doing so. They're behind.
Tannadice, Kenny. Dundee United 1, St Johnstone 0.
Thank you to Alan Preston there at Tannadice. So we'll give you all the half-time scores on Sports. And a reminder, on the telly today, BBC on 4:30 until 5:30. On the radio right through until 7 o'clock. From 5:30, we'll get reaction from managers, from pundits, and of course, the fans.
Football from Sports Sound.
Brilliant drop of the shoulder. From BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
Last time in the Europa League.
Can he score? Kelly's boot saves the penalty. Listen to this crowd now. They can appreciate how much he's kept Rangers in this tie going over to Spain for the second leg.
Rangers keep a clean sheet.
Another incredible European night.
European football lives here.
10-man Rangers nil. Athletic Club Bilbao nil.
Catch the second leg live on Sports Sound.
They're at home, but we'll go and give it our best shot and try and get through into the semi-finals.
Rangers in the Europa League, Thursday from 6.
Listen on digital radio or ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Scotland Extra.
You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. We kicked off at midday today. It was a 12:30 start at Celtic Park. Celtic 5, Kilmarnock 1. We'll hear from both managers later in the programme. In the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the top flight, 3 of these games this afternoon. Dundee United at home to St Johnstone. Let's get the half-time report from Alan Preston.
For the half-time score, Kenny's Dundee United 1, St Johnstone 0. And United had the better of the opening 25 minutes. And in 11 minutes had a wonderful opportunity. It was good play up the right-hand side. Eventually found Glenn Middleton in the middle of the 18-yard box. He rolled it wide to Will Ferry, and his left foot effort just wide of the target, hitting the side netting. But the goal came in 25 minutes. Originally it was a really poor back pass from Baladas, trying to find his keeper, all wrong, went out for a corner. That corner then comes in, and it's played in by Ferry, knocked back by Gallagher, and there was Adebayoga running off the back of his defender from a yard out, simply putting it into the back of the net to give United that 1-0 lead. Then St Johnstone started coming into it, cut to Sidibe, to Duke McKenna, and his effort was just wide of the target, trying to find the top right hand corner. And then right on 46 minutes, a Griffith deflected effort just wide. St Johnstone need to go for it in the second half. Half-time score, Dundee United 1, St Johnstone 0.
Thanks to Alan Preston. Next stop, Fir Park, Motherwell at home to Hearts. Let's hear from Stephen Craigan.
Yeah, indeed, Kenny, with such an important game for both sides and so much at stake, I have to say it's been slightly underwhelming. There's not been an awful lot of goal-mouth action. There's been plenty of energy, plenty of effort, plenty of desire. You can tell it's a big game because of the edge there is on the game, but that quality in the final third has really eluded both sides. Hearts have came closest. Sander Kurtum had a really chance after about 20 minutes. He cut in on his left foot. Probably should be at least hitting the target, but probably sums up the game. They put it high over the crossbar and didn't threaten Ellery Balcom's goal at all. Callum Slattery from Motherwell had a free kick that just fizzed wide. Tony Watt had a shot after a second phase of a corner kick from Motherwell's left-hand side. He put it past the post, but out with that, there's not been an awful lot to speak about. The managers are going to have an inspirational team talk. Someone's going to have to grab the game to the scruff of the neck, make something happen, produce a little bit of magic. If they do, the game may open up. But unfortunately here at Fir Park at half-time, it's Motherwell 0, Hearts 0.
Yeah, both Alan Preston and Michael Stewart have said how big a failure it would be for Hearts if they don't secure their place in the top 6 this afternoon. We'll be joined by a Hearts fan at 5:30 on Sports. And let's then get to the game in Paisley. St Mirren home to Ross County, and hear from James McPake.
Yes, Kenny, the half-time score here in Paisley, St Mirren 1, Ross County 1. It took 22 minutes for any notable action in the game, which was the first goal. It was a scrappy goal. Some will say it was good striker play for Ronan Hale to get it in the net, and I believe that's County's first goal in 4 games as well. Hale had another chance on 28 minutes. It was a good save by Hemming, and then Boyd Munns comes up with a brilliant strike that I don't think the goalkeeper can do anything about. And the other real chance in the game was very similar for Boyd Munns, and that's the one that Jordan Amisa got away with, because Olasunja couldn't capitalise on the error. So here, level here at Paisley, both teams will be desperate to get this win for different reasons, particularly St Mirren. They'll be in there knowing that if they get this win and results do stay the same, they'll be in the top 6. But they've got to come out and be a bit more. But both teams need to be a bit better on the ball in the second half here. 1-1 here in Paisley.
Thanks to James. So in the top flight, full-time score, Celtic 5, Kilmarnock 1, Dundee United 1, St Johnstone 0, Motherwell 0, Hearts 0, St Mirren 1, Ross County 1. So Hearts, as things stand, making up that top 6. St Mirren and Motherwell 1 point behind them into the championship. We've got a problem with the line, of course, at Firhill. Derek Ferguson's message to me is half-time report. Thistle fans going mental. Aki's cruising, very dominant, brilliant game. Half-time score, Partick Thistle 0, Hamilton Aki's 2. Let's get to the game at Capello. Morton against Livingston. The half-time report from Chick Young.
Oh, that's a wee option that could catch on, Kenny.
A wee message.
Well, we've got a good game. It started dreadfully, actually. I thought football was never going to break out in this game, but it did. Took 18 minutes or so, and it was Livingston who took a grip in the game. Christian Montano with the opening goal put them ahead. He was involved in the second goal as well, setting up a tap-in. A lovely little opening of the foot by Scott Pittman put it beyond the goalkeeper Gary Woods to put Livingston 2-0 ahead. I have to say that in the goals front, Ali Crawford scored a magnificent free kick from Martin Gets 30 yards to put it beyond Jerome Pryor and the Livingston goal to put Livingston back in it. It's 2-1 to the home side at half time. We've had a couple of changes because Cristiano Montano, who was lighting up this game, took a blow to the face and a lot of treatment, and he's had to go off and be replaced by Tete Yenge. Very much a like for like up front for Livy in that department. And then there was another one, Gary Woods, the Morton goalkeeper. I didn't actually see an instant where he would appear to have been injured, but he certainly was forced into a substitution. Ryan Mullen, who's number one choice goalie, came on. Gary Woods went off, so there's been a change in either side. 2-1 to Livingston at half time, but that free kick from Ali Crawford has certainly rattled the team who are chasing second place in the championship. Morton, of course, desperate to get themselves back into this, and I think Livingston look a little rattled. Half time, it is Morton 1, Livingston 2.
Thanks to Chick Young. Next stop, the National Stadium, Queen's Park at home to Dunfermline. Let's hear from Gully Singh.
Yes, Kenny, it's still Queen's Park 0, Dunfermline 0. It's not been a great game by any stretch of the imagination. Queens are still waiting to find the net for the first time since March the 22nd in the league. There's two early efforts from Dunfermline. Matthew Todd and Andre Raymonds. One was over the bar and Callum Ferry made a simple save. The game came to life for a portion at least on 25 minutes. Aaron Comrie drifted into the box, guided the ball into the path of Ewan Otto. He screwed an effort wide, but a decent chance for the Pars. And on 28 minutes, Dunfermline went close with the opener. Matthew Todd picked the pocket of the defender on the byline. They cut it back. Chris Kane's driven shot hit the post. And then 3 minutes later, Lewis McCann's free kick at the right-hand edge of the box. He hit the side netting. I mean, actually looked like it went in from this angle. And then it took about 35 minutes before Queens finally made a chance for themselves. It was a free kick whipped in from the right. Ben Jackson looked to have guided it beyond the keeper. It goes just wide of the left-hand post. But yeah, if this stays the way it is, Airdrie will be rubbing their hands as long as they avoid defeat. It's still Queen's Park 0, Dunfermline 0.
Thanks to Gully. So in the Championship, Morton 1, Livingston 2, Partick Thistle 0, Hamilton Accies 2, Queen's Park 0, Dunfermline 0, Wraith Rovers 1, Airdrie 1. Just looking at that Championship table, Falkirk, the live table, 70 points, Livingston 64, Ayr United 59, Partick Thistle then the last of the playoff spots, 48 points, Wraith Rovers 46, Morton 41. It's so tight. Accies 35, Queen's Park 34, Dunfermline 31, Airdrie on 28 points. Half-time scores in League 1 this afternoon: Alloa 0, Annan Athletic 0, Dumbarton 0, Cove Rangers 2, Inverness Cally Thistle 0, Kelty Hearts 0, Queen of the South 1, Montrose 0. Montrose down to 10 men. The leaders are Broth are at home to Stenhousemuir. That one kicks off at 5:30. So Broth 60 points. Cove Rangers 52, Steny 49, Queens 48. Dumbarton, of course, they were relegated a few weeks back into League 2. Bonnyrigg Rose 0, East Fife 0, Clyde 1, Forfar 1, Edinburgh City 1, Elgin City 0, Peterhead 1, Spartans 0, Stirling Albion 0, Stranraer 1. Looking at the table, Peterhead 63 points as things stand, 6 points clear of East Fife. Edinburgh City 55, Elgin City making up the last of the playoff spots there on 49 points. Down in England, the lunchtime kickoff finished Manchester City 5, Crystal Palace 2. They were 2-0 down, City in that game. Brighton 1, Leicester 1, Nottingham Forest 0, Everton 0, Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0, and Arsenal against Brentford. That is a 5:30 start. A reminder, we're on the telly today, BBC One, from 4:30 until 5:30. We're on the radio right through until 7 o'clock.
Chance! And it's a goal! Oh, what a goal!
All the action from all the biggest games.
Oh, it's the second goal!
This is Open All Mics from Sports Sound.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Welcome back to Open All Mics on BBC Radio Scotland. The last round of fixtures are getting played this weekend before we go into the split. The game of the day surely is at Fir Park. Motherwell at home to Hearts. It's goalless there. So far, it hasn't delivered. Stephen Craigan, will either manager be looking at a tactical change, personnel changes there?
Well, you think something's going to have to happen, and as you say that, on comes Lawrence Shankland with a bright yellow armband on his upper left arm, so he's certainly coming onto the pitch. I'm just trying to see who he's taken off. Is there a couple of changes? Cammy Devlin has come on as well, so both strikers have gone off. The left winger of Kabangu and the right, no, Kabangu's on, They've taken off Drama and they've taken off Blair Spittle's still on as well, so it's came quite Cartum's gone off. So Sander Cartum's gone off, going to a 4-4-2, and I imagine it looks like Spittle's going to be wide on the left. George Grant wide on the right with Cammy Devlin and Benny Beningame in midfield as a flat 4. So Lawrence Shankland is on. We said they need that kind of quality. They need someone of that ilk who can find his way to the back of the net. He hasn't done it this season, but he has a history of it, a past of it. So I think that's a real positive and a bold move from the Hearts manager. So yeah, that's 2 changes for Hearts.
Michael, your thoughts on the changes?
Had to do something, you know.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I was just saying to Stephen at half time there, I can't remember either goalkeeper really having a save to make.
No.
So they need to go and do something. Now, what I'd be saying to Lawrence Shankland is stay up the park, you know, because he's fallen into a rhythm of just effectively playing like midfield. And he did it a little bit when he came on against Dundee United last week as well. But stay up the park, get in the box, you know, is ultimately where you want him to be, because it gives him the best opportunity to get a shot and find the back of the net. But this is a massive second half for Hearts. Massive, because they don't make the top 6. It goes back to what I was saying before about there is a general fatigue amongst the supporters that for too long they have not been competing where they need to compete. And whether you like it or not, that feeds into the feeling that manager, whoever it may be, isn't the right one to guide it forward, because Hearts now need to be in a position where somebody shows definitively that they're moving in the right direction, not a slow progress. They need a marked change and progress being made unequivocally.
Stephen, you were going to come in there?
I was saying something had to change in terms of the way the game was going, the way Hearts were playing. They might have won it, they might have lost it. It's too big a game. What's out there for them, they had to change something. I think going to a 4-4-2, Shankland with Kabungu will open the game up for Motherwell. Also, you see already that there's a bit of space to play all of a sudden in the park.
Not difficult sitting at Tannadice to know what the subs were going to be. Just not. You just knew that was going to be. Sitting talking to Brian. That's the ones. Musa Drama's failed to deliver as well since he's come, and Khartoum, maybe the Scottish game's a bit too physical, a bit too quick for him.
But you know, the thing is here, Alan, right, I don't know about you, but pretty quickly on from seeing Drama, you could tell not going to work.
No. Yep.
Pretty quickly from seeing Sander Khartoum, unless he plays as a definitive number 10, you know, like Rudy Scatchell when he came back the second time around, didn't have the same legs, but you thought, play him centrally, great left foot, a wand, always hit the target and made trouble for the opponents, but stick him out wide, it's never going to work. So unless you're specifically playing him in that position, I don't see why you'd be bringing him to the club. And even then, I'm not convinced it is a definite winner. Jan Danda came in the summer, and yes, he's not done particularly, but he's never had a sniff. You know,
did they play him in the right position?
But I'd love to know. I mean, look, Nazy's on, you know, the TV and the radio. Look, I'd love somebody to ask him, what was your vision for the Hearts team? What did you recruited? What did you see? How did you...
Did he recruit these players?
How did you see the team unfolding this season? Because I said it, the first game against Rangers, how do you fit these guys into the team? I still feel it's imbalanced. There's no pace. There's no athleticism in the middle of the park. And it seems to have panned out like that. But I'd love to know what Nazy... He was the manager. How did he see
But that's the point I'm making. How would the recruitment work at Hearts? Would they be here to the final say of these signings?
Well, you'd like to think so.
And did they not seem fairly obvious, decent signings at the time?
Neil Critchley said that he has a final say, so you would imagine it would be the same with Stephen
Kenny,
Naismith.
they were inundated with midfield players when you got Beningame, Nunoff, Devlin, even the young boys that are there, Tate and guys like that, Denham are in there as well, and then they go and sign more. It was crying out for a winger with pace. It was crying out for another centre forward, because Boyce didn't start the season fit and never got fit. Wilson wasn't even in the picture at that point. They had one striker in Lawrence Shankland, and why they didn't go and sign a striker, and how they've signed a right back this week from Norway, thankfully, who looks all right. But
thank goodness, because you've been going on about that for a long time, Alan.
Honestly, it's been years, and everyone's going on about first game of the season. They thought Taylor was going to be a world beater, but he couldn't defend. Now he's a way back as well. I think the recruitment has been really, really sketchy, to say the least.
And look, this is not to be some sort of xenophobic comment, but I go on about this a lot. The further you go away, the greater risk geographically for that to work, right? You look at the two boys that they brought in from Japan. Not good enough. Not good enough. there are guys here domestically that are better and are overlooked constantly. You go to Costa Rica to bring in
January.
You go into Costa Rica to bring in Taylor, not good enough. Vargas, a 5-year deal, not good enough. That is an indictment on the recruitment process and those involved.
Stephen, you going to come in there?
Yeah, just on Sander Cartram, and I know the analytical company had a big input, I would imagine had a big input in January, but does that look at strength and duels and physicality? You know, all those things that Scottish football require, that if you're not putting that into the kind of player you're looking for, then Cartram doesn't fit the bill. So you just have to be careful what you're looking at and what kind of player is required for a certain league, and that's certainly not the strengths he has.
Yeah, big second half for Hearts at Fir Park. Let's get to the game in Paisley. Back underway there, James McPaig. What have you made in the match so far, St Mirren, as we look at an attack right now?
Yeah, it's certainly a brighter start from St Mirren in the second half. They've had a couple of close attempts at getting a clear chance on it. That they look a lot brighter, they look a lot sharper. I think that the goal certainly helped them, and then maybe the chance late on in the second half that the goalkeeper spilled, and they went in, and Stephen Robinson's obviously maybe told them what's up for grabs here, but they've certainly started a lot brighter.
Yeah, no, check.
Ali Crawford, I don't know if it's heard this week that somebody scored 2 great free kicks. Ali Crawford's nearly done it again. Another free kick outside the box, curling into the right hand post up in the top corner of Jerome Pryor. He got across, put it around the post for a corner kick. What a goal that would have been. What a double it would have been. Still 2-1 to Livy.
Yeah, James talking there about Stephen Robinson. Stephen, you can imagine strong words would have been had in that dressing room at half time. There's so much at stake today.
Yeah, I don't...
Here's a chance for St Mirren. Here's a goal! It's a goal for St Mirren. It's a great run. And again, with the bright, they'll need to be checked for offside, but it certainly looked onside. But it's a bright start again, and they're on the attack. And I think it's a Junga in the end. It looks like a bit of a mix-up from the Ross County
keeper was
centre
dreadful
back,
there, I think.
and the goalkeeper not making a decision to come out, and a Junga's there, and it puts St Mirren in a fantastic position. 2-1 here to St Mirren.
Right, we've got the pictures back up running here, so the guys are just going to have a look at the replay here.
It was just as James was describing, and as you said there as well, it looked like, you know, you're thinking, oh, the goalie's going to come and get it. Doesn't, and a Junga with his pace and power is able to get him behind.
Jordan White very slack, giving it away higher up the pitch as well.
It didn't go back as far as that,
the replay.
James, sorry.
Do you think this is tight for offside? I think
it is tight. It is tight.
My gut is it's onside. It's all about Caelan Boyd-Munns.
Yes.
All about him.
He's great pass.
Yeah. He's just drove into midfield. Brilliant. And the Junga's he's not even started shouting for it. Boyd-Munns has just recognised that the defender's ball watching, and he's played that pass. And the goal, I think for me, the goalkeeper's got to come out and get it.
Yeah. I mean Stephen's spot on. That pass is inch perfect, and it's the pass that actually dictates a Junga's movement in the end, because there is nowhere else, you know, even if that's like slightly heavier, the keeper unquestionably is taking it. But because it's weighted so perfectly, I think it's just put a seed of doubt in the
Here they go again. Oh, it's easily dealt with.
And
sorry, Michael,
Chick will be delighted to know that it's in St Mirren's hands now.
It certainly is.
The home team's hands.
Sorry, James.
But Michael, see on that pass as well. That's the pass you, Stephen, being midfielders, when you play that pass and it runs out or the goalie gets it, and the full crowd go mad at you for playing that pass, and you're the player on the pitch that's saying why is the striker no running? Because if you do it, it's a great chance. So it's a great bit of play for St Mirren to get that goal in anticipation of the run as well. And obviously I've not seen it back, but the goalkeeper's error, it seems not coming out. But again, he could be surprised by it as well. It's that good a pass.
Yeah, I do. I just think there's a seed of doubt in his mind in terms of, because it's weighted so well and because it's right in between him and the defender, I think he's just that split second apprehension, and that's all that's needed. It's a great ball from Boyd-Munns, and now it really does put the cat amongst the pigeons at Fir Park, because
big time.
Because both of these sides have got to do something, you know. It
really catches out Wright's kind of positioning, because James, he's almost like saying, right, pass it on the outside of me to Junga, and I'll back myself that I can deal with it, or potentially even read it and steal it and start a kind of counter attack. And Boyd Muntz has just been clever enough to.
He's a good player, isn't he, Boyd Muntz?
He's been
technically
honestly
good.
He struggled to get in the team. Obviously, Stephen Robinson started the season with 3-4-3, but with injuries to McMenamin, Greg Hilty's not hit the same heights as last season. They went to 3-5-2, and he's just come back in there, and he's added goals to his game. Still a young man, obviously that famous winner against Rangers, but he's really upped his game from then.
Right, some goals and that assist as well.
Yeah,
even
absolutely.
If he's adding that.
Yeah, listen, he's a decent player. You can see the quality that he has. That's a big goal for St Mirren through there in Paisley. Dumbarton pulled a goal back at home to Cove Rangers. Christian Webster with that goal. Dumbarton 1, Cove Rangers 2. Alloa have gone ahead at home to Annan. Magnus Mackenzie on 51 minutes. 1-0 there. Bonnyrigg Rose 0, East Fife 1. Alan Troughton on 53 minutes. And Stirling Albion have equalised at home to Tranraer. Ross McGeechy on 52 minutes. Let's then get to that game at Fir Park. A break and play at the moment, Craigs?
Yeah, there is. I think it's Andy Halliday has been down with the knock deep in Motherwell's half. It's taken 3 or 4 minutes to get him back to his feet and back on again. But I just think the 2 substitutions that Neil Critchley has made have just brought a little edge. Lawrence Shanklin looks sharp. He looks like he's got a point to prove. He looks frustrated. I watched him in the warm-up and he was quite lethargic. Look, and you could tell by his body language he wasn't happy being on the bench for the second week in a row, and particularly when Hearts were chasing a victory, you thought you would have put your top marksman on. Anyway, he's now in the pitch. I think he's desperate to make an impact, just to show what he's all about. A lot of people have written him off and put him down, and his career over the past year probably hasn't gone the way he wanted it to go. So I think he's got a big part to play in this game as it goes on. And Cammy Devlin just brings that little bit of bite in midfield that they probably lacked in the first half, trying to be too precise, trying to be so particular in possession. He breaks play up, he gets it forward, he allows the players to go after it. And Hearts in possession are 4-2-4. George Grant is really high on the right, Blair Spittle is really high on the left, and they're trying to push Motherwell back and force the game.
Right, let's get to Tannadice then. Dundee United with the advantage there over St Johnstone. Alan Preston, what's happening now?
Cut with an effort here, just running through. Gets a break of the ball in his own half. Runs 50 yards with it, right foot shot, just wide of the target. They're trying to push forward. St Johnstone, the fans are up at the far end, they're really getting behind them. But still Dundee United, Kenny, who lead by that 1-0.
Right, into the Championship. Morton home to Livingston. Another decent game for you this afternoon, Chick.
It's turned out that way, Kenny. It certainly didn't start that way, but Morton are really getting in about Livingston at the moment. They described that free kick that they nearly got the second of the afternoon for Alec Crawford. He'd scored one already, and they really are powering forward. There have been changes in both sides, but it's Morton getting into the game. They're still 2-1. Trailing to these 2 goals, Montana and Pittman in the first half. They got the goal back from Alec Crawford's free kick. But I tell you, they're pushing all the way, and it has turned into a right good game now. It's still, though, there's like another couple of changes getting made down there. Tell you that in a moment. Anyway, yeah, it's still Morton 1, Libby 2.
Simo Valakari showing his hand.
Right.
Kimpioka's on. They're playing a front 3 now. St Johnstone, they're going for it. Mackenzie cutting the left.
This is going to be fun.
Kimpioka on the right and Sidibe through the middle.
And he's got to go for it, Stephen.
He has to.
He has to, yeah.
I said I don't even think a draw is good enough. I think they have to win games. They've left themselves in that type of position.
Yeah.
Kenny, there's been a change here as well.
Yes, James.
For St Mirren. St Mirren have brought on Mandron and taken off Olisanya.
Right, OK, so they've turned things around there, have St Mirren in the second half in Paisley. Let's see if they can hang on for victory, and then all their fans will be tuned into what's happening in the latter stages at Fir Park. And the chance of that game will finish after the one in Paisley, because there was that delay at Fir Park. So keep you updated on that one. Let's try Derek Ferguson's line at Fir Hill. There's a fair old story developing there this afternoon. Part of Thistle home to Hamilton Accies. What's happening, Derek?
Yeah, Thistle need to find a little bit more mistakes, and you just feel that Aki's very comfortable at the moment, and again they're not the Thistle fans not handling what's coming from the stands. A lot of criticism, and they seem to not be enjoying this afternoon so far, Kenny.
Yeah, difficult times for them there this afternoon, but terrific for John Rankin's side. Let's get to the National Stadium. Queen's Park at home to Dunfermline. What's happening there, Gully Singh?
Yeah, Kenny, still 0-0 here, not much to report at all. We're approaching the hour mark. Dunfermline, I think, if any of the side's more likely to score, but Queen's still very much in this. Nothing to report in terms of clear-cut efforts for this half, so a few corners, that's pretty much it. Yeah, still Queen's Park 0, Dunfermline 0.
Thanks to Gully, not looking good for Andy Halliday at Fir Park. Stephen Craigan.
No, he's going to go off. that's been 4 or 5 times he's been down this afternoon. Actually, I watch him quite a lot, and he puts himself into tackles. He seems to take knocks left, right and centre. So he's going to come off. It looks like it's going to be Kai Andrews coming on to replace him. Luke Armstrong, the big bustling centre forward, he looked as if he was going to come on as well. So at some stage, Motherwell, without knowing the score so far at St Mirren Park, they have to take a risk. They have to put forwards on, because as much as Hearts want the goal, Motherwell are desperate for it just in case.
Crags, I was chatting earlier on about the terrific performance from Liam Kelly, that big call that Barry Ferguson made at Ibrox on Thursday evening. It certainly paid off. Liam Kelly was terrific that night. Who would be the best goalkeeper you ever played alongside?
The late great Andy Gorham.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. He came to Motherwell when he was 35. He could hardly even walk onto the training pitch. His knees were strapped up, Kenny, but when the referee blew the whistle at 3 o'clock on a Saturday or 7:45 on a Tuesday or Wednesday night and the lights come on, he came alive. The animal inside Andy Gorham came alive. He made saves I've never seen. Remember the first training session? He pulled off a save and I turned and applauded him. He said, "What are you applauding me for?" I said, "An incredible save." He said, "I'm not here to make saves. You're here to stop me making saves, stop the shot." So from then on, everyone was lunging in, trying to block crosses, trying to block shots, because he didn't want to make saves. But a phenomenal goalkeeper, and that was him at 35. I can't even imagine what he would have been like in his peak when he played in Old Firm games, when he was playing in Europe, when he was pulling off saves. So unbelievable for me, the late great Andy Gorham.
Yeah, terrific shot stopper. For you, Stephen McGinn, who was the best keeper?
The best keeper was, we had a short-term loan, the Thomas Chukwusak, came from Man United, and our young goalkeeper, he'd been in England squad, Scott Loach, he was struggling at the time. Sean Dyche was the manager, and he brought in a bit of experience, and what a difference he made to the team. Honestly, even in training, so hard to beat.
And it's a confidence. We were talking about this pre-match at Ibrox on Thursday night, that it's going to be unsettling for the defenders, the form that Jack Butland was in. You know, it can unsettle defences, can't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I would have got it wrong, because I'd have kept Jack Butland.
Yeah, I thought they would, yeah.
And it was one of those decisions that if Butland plays, makes a mistake, if Kelly plays, makes a mistake, then Barry Ferguson looks as if he's made the wrong decision. But fair play to him. It was a big call. Vice captain, a huge game. His European form's been excellent for Rangers.
You say you would have made the wrong call, but ultimately that is all determined on how the game goes. Because Liam Kelly, like obviously talk about now making the right call because he saves a penalty. But as Stephen said, if it goes the other way, all of a sudden he's getting castigated, and that is the pressure of being the manager.
That's it. Big call.
Jack Butland is a top-class keeper, and no disrespect to Liam Kelly, he's a better goalkeeper than Liam Kelly. But at this moment in time, he's obviously going through some difficult period. He's going through a difficult period. It's the more interesting dynamic now is what is going to happen at Rangers in terms of the takeover, who's the manager, and what's Jack Butland's future now. Because I don't see between now and the end of the season much changing in terms of as a goalkeeper.
It's remarkable how things changed, because I think last season you could argue he's potentially their biggest asset, but he's had a poor season. Was that a big chance at a third part,
Yeah,
Stephen?
it was Blair Spittle, really good play down the right hand side. George Grant digs out across, Motherwell clear to the edge of the box, and it falls to Blair Spittle, former Motherwell player. You just think is it going to nestle in the back of the net. He's a great technique, left foot, just like Cartram in the first half. He gets under it and puts it over the crossbar, and the Hearts fans behind the goal, they've gone a little bit flat because they now know St Mirren are winning the game, and as it stands they will not be in the top 6, so they need their team to have a little bit more inspiration and get this goal that they're craving.
Yeah, Hearts fan joining us first up with the fans at 5:30. Michael will remain in the studio for that. Stirling Albion have turned things around at home to Stranraer. They now lead by 2-1. Ryan Shanley with that goal on 58 minutes. Alan Preston, the best keeper you played alongside?
Billy Thompson, I'd have to say.
Yeah.
Dundee United, Scotland, he was brilliant. Unfortunately, we lost Billy a couple of years back. Really sad, but wonderful keeper. United got to the FA Cup final. He was incredible. Top class.
Yeah, some great memories. What's happening in the game now, Alan?
That's a bit of stop-start with a couple of injuries, substitutions as well, just slowing the game down a little bit. St Johnstone are now, I'm standing up here in the gantry, they've now got a front five. He's going for it, really going for it, so it's great to see. He has to, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, we shall see what happens there in that game.
Change here in Paisley as well, Kenny.
Yeah, James.
Alex Samuels come on for Joshua Nisbet, so that'll add a bit more pace and power top end of the pitch, maybe with the front three now. Going and trying to get back into this game. Still 2-1 St Mirren, change on the hour.
What have you made of County, James? Where do you see the strengths in their side?
They're big and physical today. I think I had heard the stuff from Don Cowie regarding it, and they look like they're big and more physical. And again, it's like I said earlier, it looks like they're trying to play out. They're just putting a corner in at the minute, but John White gets on the end, and it's a goal! I don't know, is it Marcus Fraser that heads it into his own net?
Right, we'll get a wee look here, we'll get the pictures back.
It's just Jordan White gets up the highest, heads it back across, and one of the St Mirren players puts it into his own net.
Boyd Munce, I think it is.
Boyd Munce, is it? After all we're talking about him, and just after we're talking about the size of the team that Don Cowy's picked today, to nullify part of St Mirren's strengths, let's be honest, that they are strong, they're a big team, they're good on set plays in both boxes, but that's a big goal. Obviously it's going to get checked, and you can see the referee checking it.
My first thing was, for a guy with the threat of Jordan White, he seemed to have an awful lot of space at the back post. And could Boyd Munce do anything else, really? I mean,
no,
it was going in, wasn't it?
Well, it's definitely going in, and I think the angle that he's running the line on, I don't think there's a great deal that he could have done.
See, that's vintage Jordan White. Marcus Fraser's sole job there is to try and block him, and Killian Phillips is actually trying to go and head it. But he's that good, he works the space, he's obviously got a size advantage, and it's a brilliant header.
What does that go down as? A Jordan White goal or no?
It's got to be a goal.
Got to be a goal.
You know, if it's on target,
yeah,
Kenny, it was, 3 yards inside the post?
Was it that much?
And a couple of feet under the bar, and it was on the goal line. That's nothing other than Jordan White.
Right, Jordan White's getting that goal, so check over there.
Just got a text me, Robbo's claimed it.
Right, so two-piece game on there. We thought this was going to chop and change all afternoon. Again, this is great news, of course, for Motherwell fans there at Fir Park. If the game stays the same in pace, Motherwell can get a goal, can go ahead against Hearts. They will take the last spot.
It's great news for Hearts, because they were out the top six and now they're back in it.
But I mean, right now. But see, when I'm looking at this game, you talk about the quality they've got.
Poor. But anyway, the point is, Kenny, right now they were out. St Mirren were, winning 2-1. As soon as that goal goes in, Hearts are back in the top six.
Yeah, but Motherwell, they needed, of course, to drop points.
Yeah, but Hearts needed it because they were out the top six.
Right, we're just seeing pictures here of Benny Beningame. Is he one of these players, on his day, excellent, but he doesn't do it often enough?
No. For me, Benny Beningame is good, and he actually has been isolated in the midfield for too long. He needs somebody who's got legs, athleticism and power alongside him, personally. Benny Beningame is good enough for me.
Behave yourself, Kenny.
What?
Beningame, he's a lot to like about Beningame.
There's no doubt there's a quality. Does he do it often enough, Derek?
I think so.
Yeah. It's those around him that
Anytime
don't.
I watch him, I think he's quality. I like him.
It's those that are around him. It's another one of deficiencies around him that don't help.
Yeah. I'm sorry to harp on about the diamond as well, but see, when he is coming out with the ball, he doesn't have someone out wide where he does all the ball winning so well. He's sometimes he's not actually got an out ball. He's not got a let's go and feed a winger, and that is his job in that kind of sitting role. And sometimes a diamond, you can feel quite isolated because you've not got a partner next to you and you haven't got an out ball.
That's you told, Kenny.
It's not been a diamond in the second half, Stephen. It's 4-4-2, so we should have
I mean over the piece.
Over the piece.
But the problem is Cammy Devlin beside him. The dueller's running. Cammy Devlin's just been booked. So that suddenly puts him under a little bit of pressure to go and break up the play.
Kenny, you're going home and getting the cup suit in a diamond formation, when you get in the house.
I love that, but I love hearing about that chat, how things work, what it's like, what the players prefer. I haven't heard that before in the programme, what Stephen was saying, that everyone seems to be agreeing with it. They don't like playing in a diamond. Alan, what are your thoughts on it?
I agree, 100%. You'd love to get back to the days of wingers, just out and out wingers, that go and take people on, get a bylines.
See, Alan, when you were talking
in the box.
See, when you were talking about, you think that he'll go to a 3 for Hearts. This for me, there's a constant theme, right? Tynecastle is small. You need to maximise the width. And see, playing with wing backs, I don't think that bit is beneficial. Like, generally speaking, to
Michael,
Hearts.
It might not, but I think
Vermont have scored.
Right, Gully.
Yeah, have you got me?
Got you now,
Chris Kane, he just returned. Yeah, Chris Kane's returned to the squad. There was just a cross in there. Queen's lost the ball. Dunfermline just hit them on the break. Lewis McCann just put the ball across the face of goal. Callum Ferry managed to parry it, but it fell into the path of Chris Kane to make it Queen's Dunfermline 1.
Yeah, I was saying, Michael, they might not. Yeah. But I'm just thinking when you look at it, they're going to have Halkett, Kent, McCart, Steinwender, Milne can play there. Kingsley's better there than he is at left side now because of his lack of legs. The new fullback coming in, or wing back coming in, is meant to be an attacking one that gets forward, and I think Penrice is better on the front foot than defending. So if you're putting people in the right positions, I just think that might be the way. But there's nothing to tell me that he's going to do that, but I'm thinking that's what he's maybe got.
No, and by the way, I'm not suggesting that you're wrong or anything like that. I'm just talking in a general sense. For me, at Tynecastle, you have got to maximise the width, and I think when you're playing, and it's a purely generic point, that when you play too many people in the central positions, it's not beneficial. It's already a small park, and you're congesting things.
Can I
just finish on one point? See, when you've got players that play in to out, they basically are running from a central position out to a wider area. That doesn't work.
Oh, what a save!
That doesn't work.
Alan Preston.
That's a header from Gallagher at the back post. I think the keeper gets a hand to it, and there's a defender behind him. It's another corner coming in. Gallagher with the header at the back post, back across. The keeper for me gets a touch on that. It's a good save, keeps St Johnstone just in this game.
Stephen Craigan, I think two things this game. I think I heard an initial reaction from you. One of that was from the keepy-uppy from the goalkeeper, Craig Gordon, and then the chance.
It was an attempted keepy-uppy because he came out of his box and the ball came to him. He was trying to knock it back into the box so he could pick it up. He realised he was being put under pressure by Mastroianni. He had a couple of fresh air swings. I thought at one stage he was going to stand on it, Craig Gordon, and then he just decided to thump it up the pitch. So just another nervous moment probably from the most experienced player on the pitch. He just looked a little bit edgy.
Right, chance Alan.
For Dundee United. Trapanovsky, he's got to do better. He gets it wide in the left, he cuts inside and he pulls his shot. It gets a deflection, goes wide for a corner, doesn't strike it well. What an opportunity.
Right, I've just seen another goal. I don't even keep an eye. I like to see how Scottish managers are doing down south. Alex Neil is doing an amazing job at Millwall. I don't even notice that. Of course, he was linked with Aberdeen job. He's linked with various jobs up here. He's gotten them with a chance of getting into the playoff spots. They're ahead at home to Middlesbrough this afternoon. He's done a terrific job, Alex Neil, down there in England. Just confirmation that Chris Kane goal. That's a huge goal at the National Stadium. Queen's Park 0, Dunfermline 1. Chris Kane with the goal on 69 minutes. We've got a Queen's fan joining us later in the programme. How worried is he with what's going on at his club right now? Edinburgh City 2-0 up at home to Elgin City. Innes Lawson with that goal. Just remember, we're about to go on the television in the next 30 seconds or so, and we're on the radio this evening right through until 7 o'clock. The fans will join us from 5:30. So many talking points. Hearts fan first up, we'll hear what his thoughts are. Motherwell fan, St Mirren fan, they're all going to join us. They're the three clubs that are in with a chance for that last spot in the top six. Also joined this evening by Dundee United fan Jim Goodwin. What a job he is doing, absolutely tremendous. A St Johnstone fan, they are fighting for their lives. So plenty to discuss on Sports Run right through until 7 o'clock this evening. It's really exciting today. So much to talk about, so much reaction to come. Of course, we kicked off with that game at Celtic Park this afternoon. We'll get reaction from both managers later in the programme. Welcome to viewers who have joined us on BBC One. It's another busy and dramatic day in Scottish football. There was an early kick-off in the top flight. Celtic 5, Kilmarnock 1. We'll bring you more detail on that later in the programme. Michael Stewart and Steve McGinn are alongside me in the studio. Let's take a trip around the grounds. First up, Tannadice. Dundee United up against St Johnstone. There for us, Alan Preston.
Well, Dundee United lead Kenny by 1-0 at the moment, and the only goal of the match came in 25 minutes. It was a poor piece of defended by St Johnstone. A back pass goes out for a needless corner. Ferry then whips it in. Gallagher knocks it back across the goal, and there's Adeboyega from a yard out just to stab it home. We had other chances Dundee United in that opening period, but St Johnstone in the second half have thrown caution to the wind. They're now playing with a front five. Can't get back into this game. The score at the moment, Dundee United 1, St Johnstone 0.
Steve McGinn, you were saying earlier on he's got to go for it. Simo Valakari, he'll be hugely disappointed if he doesn't take something from this game, given how fantastic they were last weekend against Celtic.
Yeah, and they have been bright in the attacking areas, and it's just a set piece given away so softly. So it's been the story of the season. They do attack well, but defensively they'll give you chances, they'll give you opportunities to score against them.
Right, let's get to the game. This is a massive game this afternoon. Motherwell at home to Hearts at Fir Park. Let's get the latest from our reporter there, Stephen Craigan.
Yeah, with 73.5 minutes on the clock, it currently sits Motherwell 0, Hearts 0, and as it stands, Hearts will be in the top six because results elsewhere are going in their favour. However, they will not want to take that risk. They'll be desperate to get a goal that would win this game and make sure they guarantee and seal a top six place. Sander Cartram had a good chance first half for Hearts. He hit it over the crossbar. Blair Spittle has went close in the second half. He also hit it over the crossbar, and Lon Shanklin has had a chance that he's hit over the crossbar. So neither goalkeeper has really had a save to make, but the game is still alive. If Motherwell can get a goal, as it stands, they can make the top 6. Plenty to play for in the last 15 minutes, but it's currently 0-0.
Michael, you were saying earlier on today that one of the things that's been aimed at Neil Critchley is his failure to win the big games, the games that really, really matter. And if he doesn't get the job done today, if they don't make the top 6, this is going to be seen as a big failure for the club.
Huge, of course. I'm just looking here at Fir Park. There's a chance there through the middle. Oh, very, very close. I think it was Armstrong that went running through the middle. But of course it is. I mean, this is, everything's on the line here. It's, you know, it's do or die, make the top 6 or don't. And if Hearts don't make the top 6, of course it's a massive failure. You know, the manager came in October, and granted, obviously the team were in dire straits at the bottom of the table. But when you look at the inconsistency from the rest of the league, if Hearts are not to make the top 6, then you know there's a lot of responsibility on the manager. It's not as if it's being absolved of any responsibility. He had a January transfer window as well where there was some good recruitment done, but there was also some questionable, and they didn't address the glaring issues that the squad have. And until they're addressed, they'll continually fail to reach the potential that the club should have.
We're on the TV until 5:30 today. The conversation continues on the radio right through until 7 o'clock. First up today with the fans element will be a Hearts supporter. He's at the game today. What mood will he be in when he joins us later this afternoon? Let's get to the other side that are in the mix for this last place in the top 6. St Mirren, they're at home to Ross County this afternoon. There for us is James McPake.
You have a corner that Mark Harris just swung it in, and I think it'll be another corner. They had been struggling a little bit there as another corner. St Mirren, Ross County had them pinned in, and it was a flurry of corners from Ross County, but to be fair to St Mirren, they were dealing with them, they were defending them well, but for a spell in that game there, they were under a fair bit of pressure. Alex Samuel coming on has caused problems. He's a player I like. Going back to Simon Murray, that's the type of player he is, he's had injuries as well, but just getting after people. But this corner's going to be swung in now. Boyd Munce, I think, with this one.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that one in the studio.
Yep.
Stephen McGinn is alongside me
here.
It's
a chance. It's dealt with well again, and that's been the pattern of the game probably for 10 minutes. Just two teams winning corners and both teams defending them really well.
Steve McGinn alongside me in the studio. It would be a remarkable achievement if Stephen Robinson can get St Mirren into the top 6 for the 3rd consecutive season. If they don't get the job done, they'll look back on this game today. I'm thinking other home games against Motherwell, against Dundee, against St Johnstone, games you would expect to certainly take something from, if not win.
Yeah, spot
Stephen,
on.
Sorry, Stephen, is this a penalty chip? No. Was there anything at that corner? No.
Right, we're having a wee look. So the referee certainly gets his hand to his ear there. So play is stopped at the Smythe Stadium. Just keeping a wee eye. No, he's just way play on. Stephen McGinn.
Back on now, yeah.
Yeah, it has been. It's a reason. I mean, you think of going back-to-back wins against Rangers, the big wins over Aberdeen, Hibs. They've been so impressive at times, but it has been these games. I was at the game earlier in the season, home to Ross County 0-0 a few weeks ago. Lost at home to St Johnstone 1-0, and that was my biggest fear from a St Mirren point of view coming into the game, that Hearts failed to win and St Mirren didn't get the 3 points at home to Ross County.
Still very much all to play for there in this last place, the battle for that last place in the top 6. Let's get into the Championship. Livingston still with faint hopes of winning the title. Morton at home to Livingston this afternoon. Right, we'll hold fire on that.
Defending.
Yeah, big chance there at St Mirren Park again there. James McPake, talk us through it.
Yeah, two chances. First it was down the right hand side, and it looked like there were a big claim for a penalty, but then it comes back out, and I don't know if it's Declan John. Another chance coming in. No, that one's clear. That's either Declan John or Boyd Munce, and again great defending for the Ross County centre backs, throwing everything. The game's now swung in St Mirren's favour, and Ross County are the ones that are under the cosh here and struggling to defend it, and but are putting their bodies on the line, and they're managing it at the minute. But if this pressure continues, you can see St Mirren getting this goal that they desperately deserve. 76 minutes in here and 2-2.
Yeah, St Mirren throwing everything at County there in pace. Let's get into the Championship. Morton at home to Livingston this afternoon. There for us is Chick Young. What's happening, Chick?
Yeah, it's still 2-1 to Livingston, but Morton are throwing everything at this now. They've made a couple of changes. Stevie May came on for Livy to give them an added threat up front. He's having to work to get into the game because Morton had a lot of ball in the second half. Remember, it was 2-0 to Livy early on, Montano and Pittman before that wonderful free kick from Ali Crawford made it 2-1, and then another free kick which was going in the top corner, but a brilliant save from Jerome Pryor got that round the post. So at the moment it's swinging in Morton's way, and David Martindale down there going absolutely crazy about his players, wanting them to up the work rate a little bit, get into the game. When Morton it is, they're really in pursuit of this equaliser. 2-1 to the visitors at the moment, Kenny.
Yeah, at least Livingston, Stephen, keeping the pressure on Falkirk. It was a disappointing end to the game for Falkirk down at Somerset Park last night. We think they will win the title, but Livingston, they've had a terrific season. They'll fancy their chances if it is to be through the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that late goal for Ayr last night would have, David Martindale's message would have been clear in terms of having the 2 games before Falkirk next play. No matter how much I think Falkirk will get it over the line, I think they'll have too much in the end. But the win today, a win Friday night, all of a sudden Falkirk are only 3 ahead of them into that home game against Rafe. So a real chance to apply pressure from Livingston.
Let's get to the game at Firhill. Partick Thistle currently occupy the last of the playoff spots there at the top of that table. They're at home to Hamilton Accies, Derek Ferguson, but it's not going well for the home side.
Well, they've just missed another hitting the target. Accies in the driving seat, 2-goal lead they've got at the moment. A great first half from Accies, getting that 2-goal lead. It was Todorov, brilliant volley in 15 minutes, and 2 minutes later Robinson racing away from the Thistle. They've tried Thistle, but they're huffing and they're puffing, and there's no real quality in the final third. But Accies looking comfortable as we go into the last period of the game.
Yeah, apologies to the quality of the line there at Firhill, but we'll try and stick with this. A big game for both sides here. Also a big game at Hampden Park this afternoon. Queen's Park at home to Dunfermline. Let's get the latest from Gully Singh.
Yeah, Kenny, still Queen's Park 0, Dunfermline 1. There's about 10 minutes left on the clock. The fans are urging Queen's Park to get forward there to create a chance. They've not made anything definitive enough to test the keeper. Of course, it was that Chris Kane goal on 69 minutes, but it was only a few minutes before that where Zach Rudden was almost in to give Queen's Park the lead. So there is still time, but fans are frustrated, so we'll see what happens in the next 10 minutes. Queen's Park 0, Dunfermline 1.
Thanks to Gully.
Kenny, what a chance for Morton to equalise here. There's a ball from the left-hand side, flung into the far post. Cammy Ballantyne's coming in, he's unmarked, he gets the head in it but doesn't go over the ball, and the ball goes over the bar. That should have been the equaliser. Still 2-1 to Livy.
Yeah, Livy United have just hit the top of the crossbar, strained free kick. Gallagher with a free header back across, hits the top of the crossbar. If Dundee United are clever here, they'll catch St Johnstone on the break. St Johnstone have got every striker in the club: Clark, Sidibe, Kimpioka, Kirk, Henry Hall, Ali McCoist, they're all on.
Yeah, Al, we chatted earlier on about this, but what a fantastic season for Dundee United and Jim Goodwin. They're banging with a chance of nailing third spot in the league.
They can, yeah. I think they go level with Hibernian, and if it stays like this, what you've got to say is, during when you were going round the grounds, Kenny, Dalby's gone off injured, and it looked not too clever either, so he's been replaced by Louis Moult, so he's been a talisman for them this season. They'll be hoping that he's okay for the final 5-game run-in.
I was just going to say, Kenny, I was just looking at the live table there, and we hadn't really mentioned the fact that Dundee United win this, so obviously 9 out of 9 points in the last 3 games, and they're level with Hibs. So, from going a wee spell where you're thinking to yourself, there was an outside chance that they might have dropped out the top 6. They're right in the hunt for third, and that is a great achievement, because they just, we've got to remember, they just got promoted this season.
Yep.
Great chance for them.
St Johnstone, they're piling on the pressure here. As Josh McPake, he cuts in from the left-hand side and he hits it. I think it's a deflection, or as the keeper maybe saved it, but it's gone into the side net and corner to St Johnstone. The amount of strikers, Michael, that they've got on, you've got to see this to believe it.
Yeah.
At least St Johnstone's sides in recent years haven't had these striking options, but certainly Steve McGinn, he's got plenty to choose from now, and he's given it a right go there at Tannadice. Yeah,
it's absolutely the one big thing you can say about Simo Valakari. He has gave it his best shot. He's absolutely went for it in most games. He's went in. It's just, as I said, you keep going back on it. You have to give yourself a platform to attack teams like that. You have to make sure you're right with the basics at the back.
Right, just some goals going in League One. Inverness, Cardiff Thistle 0, Kelty Hearts 1, Luke McCarville in 79 minutes, Dumbarton 1, Cove Rangers 3, Dylan Lobban in
what
81.
What a save that is from Fisher.
Right, back to Tannadice, Alan Preston.
Magnificent, it's a ball. Stevenson really, I said it, Kenny, they can catch them on the break. They're 3v2, Stevenson plays it across, comes to Moult, takes a wonderful touch. Great hit, what a save by Fisher, keeps them in the game, still 1-0 Dundee United.
This actually reminds me of the early days of Sima Valakari when they were completely exposed at the back. They were a bit more solid in recent weeks, staying in League One. Queen of the South 2, Montrose 1, Blair Lions pulling one back there on 80 minutes. Let's get to this game, so much at stake at Fir Park. Motherwell at home to Hearts. Stephen Craigan is there for us. Any sign of a winner, Stephen?
Well, double chance for Hearts, corner to the back post. I think it was Jamie McCart came around the back. Everybody missed it, or everybody left it, one of the two. And he came in at the back post. It was cleared off the line. I've no idea who cleared it off the line. And then it fell to the edge of the box. And I think it might have been Blair Spittle again who fizzed it over the crossbar. So Hearts are knocking on the door. Motherwell have hardly been up the pitch. It's all Hearts without really threatening apart from that last corner kick. There hasn't been an awful lot in the game. Hearts will feel as if they should be ahead. But it's 0-0 with 5.5 minutes to go.
It was George Grant just with that last chance.
Is that who it was, mate?
Yeah, George Grant.
Yeah, I couldn't see it.
Very similar. But yeah, it's another one that's gone over the crossbar. It's, I'm sure there'll be a few nervous supporters and managers at Fir Park.
Big chance in Mirren.
Yeah, big chance at Paisley. Let's get back there to James McPake.
Yeah, it should have been. He should have done better. It's man drawn with the header. I think it's man drawn. It comes in. It's a good ball in it. It might be a big. It's a Dobu, sorry, who had just come on. Yeah, there were a double change for both teams, and Adobu had just come on, and it's hung up. It might just be a little too high for him, but for me, he's got to do better and get it on target. And if he does that, he puts St Mirren back in the lead, in my opinion. Double change.
Sorry, James, on you go.
On you go, Stephen.
No, I'm just saying he's just trying to score and he's let the ball just come off his head. It's one of those, I think you need to guide it towards the back post and maybe give Ayunga Amandron the chance to score from that.
Yeah, go in and meet it.
Yeah, so as things stand, with the scores as they are, if it remains a draw at Fir Park, and it is currently a draw there, if St Mirren can find a way of getting themselves back in front in Paisley, they will take the last spot in the top six. And as I said earlier, it'll be 3 consecutive top 6 finishes for Stephen Robinson's side. Of course, the St Mirren fans earlier this season enjoyed European football for the first time in many, many years. So we'll keep you updated on that one. Let's get back to the game at Fir Park. Stephen Craigan is there for us. We've spoken a lot about Hearts on this programme today. Stephen, what's at stake for them? He's just in the door, Michael Wimmer, but what do you think Motherwell fans will think about the early stages, what they've seen from him?
Well, they had a little lift after he came in, didn't they? They beat Dundee here and they beat Rangers at Ibrox, and you thought things were going to turn, but these players have disappointed for large parts of the season, so it was never going to be sustainable, and I think he's worked out for himself. I think he spoke continually about summer being a big transfer window for him. He knows there's lots of change to go on, which is probably not ideal when your players are still in the building and they're fighting for getting into top 6, and if they don't make top 6 then they've got a relegation battle on their hands or a playoff battle in their hands. He's got 11 loan players, so you're trying to motivate players who know they won't be here next year, so it's a real mixed bag with what he has. They've lacked the threat this afternoon. They've always lacked pace, they've lacked creativity, they've no width on their side, and that has shown up in the second half. When they need to go and win a game, when they need to chase a game and get men forward and have a little bit of quality, they've come up short. That can't all be on the shoulders of Michael Wimmer. He came in with an idea of how he wanted to play and a system he wanted to play, and barring those 2 wins, I'm not too sure it's worked in the other 4 games that he's been in charge of. So there's going to need to be big changes over the summer. He will just hope they're a top flight club. He'd love them to be a top 6 club. I'm not sure they've got enough quality in the last 4 or 5 minutes to go and get a goal.
Michael, I have to say, when I saw Maswanisi was back in the starting lineup today, he looks a bit about him. You think you've had some hope if you're a Motherwell fan, but Craggs is saying there, they've just not really created the chances, did they?
No, they've not. I mean, neither side have created, any...
Goal! St Mirren!
Wow, this changes things.
It's a goal this time. What a goal, what a strike. This play for St Mirren, it's erupted with the St Mirren fans. They know now, with 5 or so minutes to go, that I don't know what the league is or what's going on. I'm that excited with this goal, but what a strike.
I'll tell you what's going on. I'll tell you what's going on. As things stand, if that goal stands, they are into the top 6. Huge celebrations. I know it was a sellout for the home fans again there in Paisley this afternoon. We're just watching the pictures coming in here. Steve McGinn, we can see some of the supporters with their tops off there in Paisley. Huge celebrations there. It was a decent strike. I do. My first impression was perhaps the keeper could have done a bit better.
You're just so negative about St Mirren, aren't you?
Have a look at it.
Everyone's just anti-St Mirren, chick.
Right. See, from live, Michael, it's one of those ones that when you're watching it quick, I think he turns on it and it's that snapshot. And then does that take the keeper by surprise, or should the keeper do better? But for me, it's like...
Right, go, where?
Oh, Martin of Scott's been chalked off. Martin have got the ball in the net, the flag's going up. Offside. Oh, that could have been very dramatic indeed. They battled themselves right back into this game, and the ball was fired into the net, but it's by Jordan Davis. But the flag is going up, chalked off, still 2-1 Livy.
Yeah. I was actually being slightly facetious, Kenny, because at first angle, thought to myself the same thing. I thought the keeper, but you see the replays, it's past him in a flash. It's a really good strike, and it dips as well.
Right.
So I don't think I would criticise the goalkeeper. I would more criticise you.
Right, it just looked fairly central to me there. Do you know what? Chick's commentary there, we're giving Falkirk fans potentially for a second or two a huge moment of excitement, but that goal has been chopped off there, so Livingston hang on, and still they are in the Championship playoff title race, you'd have to say. Kelty Hearts 2-0 up now away at Inverness. Cally Thistle, Robbie Cole with that goal in 87 minutes. Charlie McGrew, of course, sacked as Kelty Hearts manager this week. Let's then get back to...
Kenny, I was just going to say, see, in terms of the game in Paisley has fluctuated one minute. Fir Park, the whole thing's been so flat. Craigs, would you not say so?
Oh, Dan Casey had a real chance. Craig Gordon again came for a corner kick, completely missed it, and Casey got up above everyone, couldn't keep it down. May not have got Motherwell into the top 6. It could have earned him a crucial 3 points in the relegation battle, but it could almost have knocked Hearts out of any possibility of reaching the top 6. Big let off, and I'm just wanting to see, I think it was 4 minutes went up possibly here at Fir Park, so Hearts have a lot to play for, but you're right, Michael, the game has been flat for some strange reason.
Right, do you know what? It's going to be interesting to see which game finishes first here, because I have no doubt at all that the fans at the other game will be tuned into Open All Mics to see what is happening.
Sorry, things stand. Sorry, I said 4. 7 minutes.
7 minutes, yeah.
7, so the drama is going to continue. The drama, with not any real drama, is going to continue.
And do you know what? And Michael makes a good point, Stephen, because you were talking earlier, a big support in for both clubs there today. There was so much at stake, and the players just haven't delivered.
I mean, it's not for lack of effort or lack of energy or trying. They've lacked quality. There hasn't been enough cohesion or enough synergy amongst the forward players, the midfield players. It's like each team's been playing in separate departments with no connection all over the pitch. A little bit of desperation at times, long hopeful balls, taking risks they don't need to take, a few nerves going about, which adds up to quite a flat occasion.
Did Steinbender look injured there? Because he's just gone off for Craig
He got a
Halkett.
knock in his head, Michael.
Was that, yeah?
He got a little bump in his head a couple of minutes ago, but I think he was trying to get the game stopped as Motherwell counter-attack, but whether he's been taken off because of that or whether they just made a direct change.
Right, let's inject some positivity. What a fantastic season it's been for Jim Goodwin and Dundee United, right in the mix for third spot in the league. They're winning at home to St Johnstone late in the day there. Let's get back to Alan Preston at Tannadice.
Yeah, they still lead, Kenny, by that 1-0 Adebayo's goal in the opening half. St Johnstone have thrown men on, but it's Dundee United who've had the better chances, because St Johnstone have got lack of defenders now, and they're just playing the game out now. United with the ball at their feet, they're keeping possession. St Johnstone are the ones that are panicking. There's a chance here, it goes down, and wanting a penalty kick. United, that's never a penalty kick for me. St Johnstone hurriedly trying to get on with the game again. We're almost into the 90th minute, where it's still Dundee United 1 at St Johnstone 0.
Michael, sorry, just to reiterate your question you asked me about Steinbender being injured, whether he is or not, but Craig Halkett is playing as a centre forward who come on and replace him. So Hearts are playing with 2 centre forwards because Kabangu's gone off, Lawrence Shankland and Craig Halkett.
I mean, that just shows.
St Johnstone have got 5 strikers, so Hearts have got 2.
Morton in trouble. Oh, but brilliant recovery.
Right, check, back to Capello.
Oh, Morton were caught. Everybody pushed up. 3-1 at the back, and a fantastic sliding challenge there just came in. I think it was Grant Gillespie who got back, just rescued the situation. So they're hanging on, Livingston. That was a break for them. They are leading by 2-1. We're well into time added on, Kenny. So they will have narrowed the gap, Livingston at the top to 6 points. If it stays like this, I'm sure it will now. We've played a lot of time. The referee's just in a little look at his watch. Remember, there was goals from Montano and Pittman to put Livy 2-0 ahead. It was a magnificent free kick from Ali Crawford to make it 2-1. Chances, they got the ball in the net again, did Morton, chalked off for offside. And David Martindale, I don't know what the mental, how after mental, when you go absolutely bonkers, there must be a word, but he's taking that to new levels down there as we time added on. He's screaming at his team to get organised, get the shape, and Morton continues to go forward as we way into time added. Kenny, it is 2-1 to Livy.
Yeah, he's a good watch. I tell you, he's very animated there just in the past couple of minutes, Steve. We just saw Alex Gogic there celebrating a clearance there in Paisley. He knows what these next few minutes could mean for St Mirren Football Club.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, monumental in terms of things that they've had to deal with all season off the pitch, and to dig out another top six would be absolutely incredible for that group of players and the manager.
Right, let's get back to Paisley. James, how long to go there? I saw a couple of substitutions being made.
Yeah, we're 2 minutes into 6 minutes of added on time. And Stephen Robinson's brought on Iacoviti for a Junga, which makes sense to me with the size of Iacoviti and the balls that are going to come into the box, particularly when they've got long throw-ins. Alex Samuel is just down the now with an injury, and Tanser's come on for Declan John. St Mirren now have about 4.5 minutes to see out, and if everything stays the same, it's another remarkable achievement. Stephen Robinson's as animated as I've seen him on the touchline. This stadium's as animated as I've seen it ever. I think it's a great atmosphere, even with these headphones on, and it'll get even louder if this result stays the same and the results elsewhere.
Yeah, St Mirren fan will join us later in the programme on the radio. Let's then get back, because of course this all depends on what Hearts do at Fir Park. What's the latest there, Stephen Craigan?
Well, Hearts are on the attack. They've got a free kick in a wide area, wide left, just in front where the Motherwell boys sit. Craig Gordon was actually trying to get up the pitch. I think he's noticed that Craig Halkett's playing centre forward. I think he wants to play centre forward as well, just to get a wee shot at it. You think he would?
That's it, Kenny. Gap at the top, down to 6 points. Livingston have beaten Morton here at Capo by 2 goals to 1. Montano and Pittman, and then that great free kick from Ali Crawford. But it's all 3 points go to. And it becomes very interesting, as Michael was saying earlier, Livingston play again before Falkirk play, but this time next week it could be down to 3 points. Full time here, Morton 1, Livingston 2.
Really heavy collision here at Tannadice with the keeper. Barry Douglas runs into his own goalie. Thankfully Fisher's up. I thought he landed on his neck with the looks of it. He stood up. Douglas is still getting treatment. This game's still got a bit to go. The physios have been on for both sides a number of times, just waiting to see what the fourth official puts up on his board. But this is still Dundee United 1, St Johnstone 0.
Right, back in the Championship, Gilly Singh, National Stadium.
Yeah, Lennon and celebrate.
Right, we'll cut that line there. So it sounds like a victory there for Dunfermline. Chris Kane with that goal in the second half. Queen's Park bang in trouble concerning times. Dunfermline not out of it yet, but a huge win for them there at the National Stadium this afternoon.
You know, we're talking about obviously the Premiership, the live table, and how that was, you know, Dundee United up third level in points with their Championship. Who would have thought when Callum Davison had guided Queen's Park to beating Rangers in the Cup, and they were floating around about the playoffs in the Championship, they'd now be sitting in the playoff relegation spot.
Absolutely, Michael.
I just, like, for the life of me,
Lawrence Shankland's through. Oh, he should have failed. Here's the shot. Oh my goodness, he's put it past the post.
Right, let's get to Fir Park, Stephen Craigan.
Oh, Lawrence Shankland is closest he's came since he came on as a sub at half time. He gets in behind Johnny Katrumbis. There was a little clip. He hesitated. I thought he was going to go down. The referee probably would have pointed to the penalty spot. He stayed in his feet. He went with his left foot back across the goal, and it's just went past the post. And Motherwell now in the attack. Is that Hearts' biggest chance gone? Because there's only 1 minute left.
Right, OK, can imagine what St Mirren fans were going through. Stephen Craigan described that. Let's get back then to Firhill. Derek Ferguson.
Yeah, they've got one back, Thistle. It's the manager, Graham, just a little nod. Looked over the keeper into the back of the net. We've got minutes left.
No. This is incredible stuff here.
Right, Tannadice, Alan Preston.
McPake cuts in on the left-hand side, deflected shot away for a corner. The corner comes in, and as Barry Douglas from 4 yards out knocks it wide on his good left foot as well.
Kenny, sorry, full-time whistle is blown at Fir Park. It's Motherwell 0, Hearts 0. Hearts are now looking towards St Mirren to see what happens there.
Right, let's cross there. James McPake is there. Closing stages. James McPake.
Yeah, well, we're getting 5 seconds. Gogic is down just now. I don't know if it's game management, but the St Mirren fans certainly know that the full-time whistle has went at Fir Park, that's for sure, because there were another huge cheer here. But I'd be getting Gogic up and getting on with this game. The place is erupting again. It's electric in here just now. They know they're really close. They've got a throw in inside, or about 10 yards inside Ross County's half. Callum Scott is looking at his watch, but there it is. That's it. St Mirren and the celebrations down there are brilliant for the St Mirren staff, the players, everybody, the fans. I think I've actually turned into a St Mirren fan today as well, because it's been that good.
Do you know what? It's been absolutely fantastic. Fantastic,
delighted
James.
for Stephen Robinson. He's running on and fair play. I mean, straight to Don Cowie first and foremost. But delighted for him. And again, it showed his experience late on when he got in. And it sounds easy, but you get the win and he's putting centre backs on. They're 3-2 up. They got away with one very late on when something else was going on in one of the games, because a cross came in and one of the Ross County players could have got on the end of it, but no, they got away with it. And 3 years in a row, St Mirren in the top 6. Remarkable achievement for St Mirren Football Club, but for Stephen Robinson, absolutely delighted for him and his staff.
Yes, it's a very good point. We can see the pictures coming in there. Huge celebrations there. Stephen Robinson congratulating his players, sending them over to celebrate with the fans. It's a sellout for the home support there again in Paisley this afternoon. Incredible. 3 consecutive top 6 finishes. Steve McGinn, a club that means an awful lot to you. And James McPake was saying earlier, he doesn't think Stephen Robinson gets the credit he deserves.
No, but he does in Paisley. I mean, he's so well regarded. The club have gave him a long-term contract. They know he's building something. 3 years in a row. It gets joked about a lot around St Mirren about Tony Fitzpatrick saying the ambition at the club should be to be in the top 6, to be competing for European places. He appointed a manager that he believed could deliver that, and he has. I mean, amazing. Rode the luck at times, obviously, with the results going in their favour over the last couple of weeks, but absolutely, I mean, some major highs in the season. As I said earlier, back-to-back wins against Rangers and finishing top 6 for three seasons in a row with a limited budget. Unbelievable from Stephen Robinson.
Yeah, so Alex Gogic there with the top off. He's got his kids on the park there. Huge celebrations. What a warrior he is. Well done to St Mirren. They take the last place in the top 6 after Hearts failed to beat Motherwell at Fir Park this afternoon. It was a poor game, goalless. We'll get more on that game later in the programme. We'll hear from the managers. We've got a St Mirren fan joining us, a Hearts fan joining us, a Queen's Park fan joining us, Motherwell, Dundee United, St Johnstone. Their fans are joining as well today. So let's get to the closing stages at Tannerise. Alan Preston is there for us.
Well, St Johnstone had a brilliant chance. Kim Pioka, lovely 1-2 with Sidibe, and he just knocks it wide of the target. United go up the other end and get a corner, but St Johnstone have quickly cleared that and they're pushing. Everybody's in the Dundee United half with the exception of the Fisher, the St Johnstone keeper. It's going to be a long throw and coming in by Douglas. They've got so many, sometimes, Kenny, too many cooks spoil the broth. They've got so many forward thinking players on that they're now getting in each other's way. The centre halves are up as it gets thrown in here. We're almost there, but it'd be it's a corner. The keeper's asking Fisher's want to go up if he can't. It's incredible stuff here. This would be a great result for Dundee United. Would put them joint third with Hibernian on 50 points. Really great season for Jim Goodwin's men. As far as Seymour Valakari's concerned, it's just not been good enough.
Right, and I have to say, key to that success, Steve McGinn, has been the recruitment. It's been spot on from Jim Goodwin.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dalby, a lot's been spoken about, but the quality of the wing backs. Ryan Strain was a magnificent player at St Mirren. Will Ferry, Stevenson, you can go on. The recruitment's been so good.
Full time at Tannadice. Dundee United 1, St Johnstone 0.
Terrific season for Dundee United, very much in the mix for the third spot in the league there. St Johnstone, their fight continues at the bottom of the table after that terrific result, of course, at home to Celtic last weekend. Just seen some pictures coming in there from Fir Park, a young Heart supporter in tears there. Don't tune into Sports Sun later on, young man, and you'll hear Michael Stewart going on about that football club. He said earlier on today, the very least they should expect is a top 6 finish. They have not delivered that. Michael had concerns over the appointment of Neil Critchley. Could he win the big games? He's not done that this season so far at Hearts. Huge disappointment for them today. That late chance, Michael, through Lawrence Shanklin. But that again typifies Hearts season, and against Lawrence Shanklin's season as well. He started on the bench today. He's just not been the same player this season.
No, he's not. But I think there's no silver bullet that solves all the issues at Hearts. But to go back to something that Alan's mentioned on a number of occasions, he was saying it earlier on, in summer, why the club never signed another striker is beyond me. And that perhaps would have alleviated some of the pressure early on in the season. And I think that's the source of a lot of the problems here, that he wasn't scoring, the team weren't scoring, and there was so much pressure on him. The captain, the leader, the goal scorer, because there was nobody else. And I think that has, set a train off in regards to the season as a whole, and it's become a runaway train. And Lawrence Shankland in particular has not been able to steer it back on track. And Hearts bottom 6. I was talking before about the 11 seasons that Anne Budge, since she took the club out of administration. This will be the first time they're in the bottom 6, by the way. Apart from obviously when they got demoted in the COVID season.
What do you put this down to, Michael? If we look at this season, is it almost entirely down to recruitment? Poor recruitment?
In large part, yeah. In large part. And I've got some sympathy with Neil Critchley, because I do think that he has improved things, as we spoke about earlier on. But there are fundamental flaws in that squad. And when it came to January, not even January, as soon as you go in that building, you would recognise what needed to be done. And in the build-up to January, I would have been screaming at the recruitment team, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that. That's what I need. Bring me that kind of player. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. See, just now, just get me. And if it needs to be a loan, get me them. Short term, I need that in my team until I can get to the summer and I can recruit it properly. €400,000 on Sander Khartoum plants a seed of doubt in my mind in terms of what's the analytics, what are they showing, what are they looking at? Because I'm looking at that with my two eyes, and yes, he's a nice technical football player, but what's the big picture at Hearts? What are they what's the system? What are they trying to achieve with recruiting like that? His one position would be as a number 10. You've already got a plethora of guys that can play in there. And you're going to spend a transfer fee on it for a 29-year-old with no resale value. I've got question marks about some of the things that happen at that club on the football side. The business side, fantastic, brilliant. They're smashing it out the park in a lot of respect. On the football side, 11 seasons. 11 seasons. Robbie Neilson, and I know has not been a fan's favourite, but for me, Robbie Neilson has been the standout manager at that club in those 11 seasons. No questions about it. And yes, things started to tail off. He got sacked because he was potentially going to finish 4th. Think about that.
Yeah, we're there now. Really concerning times for Hearts fans. What we'll do next, we'll run through the classifieds for you. We'll have a look at the tables. So important, the tables, as we draw towards the business end. Actually, the end of the season, very much in terms of the lower leagues. Certainly, of course, this is the last round of fixtures in the top flight before the split. So let's do the class.